I had to for my boss after this year as also to like everybody said and welcome everyone. I'm glad that we're taking and making progress in this year's conference. I appreciate everyone that has come here today. And yesterday was interesting. Look forward to today being better. We have quite a number of personalities with us today. I would like to introduce them. Um, we have the um, representative of the MD of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, the president of the state controller. Um, she's representing Mr. Ahmad Hamad, who is the MD of the Federal Mortgage Bank, and her name is Pastor Chika Olusu. Please, you're welcome. I'd like to welcome you all to the beginning of okay. We got here also today is the immediate past MD and the founding MD for the Family Homes Funds, which is a national organization for housing provision in Nigeria, with the person of architect Kemi Adewale, the global consultant. We do not have the one. We're very welcome. Please keep the clapping going. Because we have the current okay, I would also like to invite another very important person here. Um, Her name is, she likes to be called just by her name, no titles. She's Solana Teji Lola, yes, correct. Yeah. She's representing the International Finance Corporation Edge. And basically what they do is financing and sustainability. Thank you, very welcome. Okay. And we also have one very interesting young man. He doesn't look like a young man, even though he's a young man. Because I cannot believe that nobody should try it today in this hall. His name is Osama. I'm missing my surname now. Yes, so we would like you to come on stage also. Are you still busy working here? Okay. And he's actually from our company, he's our CTO, he's the head of technology and IT. So we will have a presentation that we will make it today. Okay. We're waiting for you to come on. And I'd like to invite also to the stage the MD of the meeting here, Engineer Musa Onyele. You're welcome. Thank you everyone for being around today. We really appreciate you. The essence of this conference is to, and like the name of the conference goes, is to find solutions for effective housing delivery for the average Nigerian citizen. For people who ordinarily will not be able to get homes for themselves. That's the purpose of this gathering. I listened again and again to the recording of the yesterday's session, and I was glad to hear the expressions of the people who came, the needs they have, the frustrations they are facing, um, and then to some extent, whether this will actually be the results that we seek. And I'd like to give you assurances that this conference is not just a game. It is directed specifically to provide housing for every Nigerian and within the bracket of low to medium income. And the state government here to do some things already, which is encouraging. And the state has not been on the real estate map for a long time. And thank God it's coming on. And this conference is pulling people from every sector or every angle of the real estate sector for deliberations to encourage collaboration so that we can deliver effectively. Edo State is said to have approximately 400,000 housing deficits. For that number, and I'm sure you all agree with me that the number is questionable, very questionable. Now, last year, we did a research, a door-to-door, house-to-house, office-to-office, ministry-to-ministry survey. The results from those surveys show that over 75% of indigents are yearning for houses. And those state population is right now projected to be about 5 point something million. So if we even do 70% of 5 point something, what are we looking at? 3.5 million. How are we looking at? So when we say 400,000, truth is we have not scratched it, and the numbers will keep growing. Now, we must also realize that even though people live in houses, we have to ask the question, are these houses being occupied? Um, can these houses being occupied be called houses? I'll give an example. Because of this program, we got a media person who was willing to work with us from Abuja, came over, and I thought I had accommodation. Oh, I thought. Because my coppers had rented a place which they collected money from me to pay for. They said they found a place. I gave them money, they went to pay. I'd never visited the place. Now, some of them had left and there was some vacancies. So I felt we had space. The young man came and told them take it there. And when the pictures of the place came to me, I was amazed. But there are people who live there as if they are comfortable. All over the central area of the city, there are houses that cannot be called houses, but people are living in them. So when we are talking houses, we're not talking of the structure that we see standing. That the building is standing doesn't make it a home, doesn't make it a house. If it's not livable, I don't think any human being should be subjected to an environment that is not livable for a long time. I guess you agree with me that it affects mindset. The environment you live affects your mindset, affects your productivity, affects what you can envision. So most of what I think comes once did the research and came up with the fact that about 40 something percent, am I right, sir? About 45% of the houses existing in Nigeria are not living, should be removed, should be demolished. They shouldn't be called houses. So we have a huge problem in our hands. And it's also good hearing people directly, yes, they're expressing the frustration, expressing the needs of to be able to overcome these challenges. So before us today are persons that will be speaking to some of these things and have the opportunity to ask questions, the opportunity to look at the possible solutions, and then see how we go on here. The deliberations will continue for the next 3 days also, and we keep engaging with new people and all within the sector to get the best value out of this entire process. So once again, you're welcome. And you're welcome also my top guests. Okay. So we'll start the conversation today and we'll start with a presentation. I think our first presentation will be coming from my boss here, architect Femi Adewale. Adewale, yes. I don't think so. So if you can I get it so they can talk. So um, slide to the setup. I guess I would allow him to have the floor, make a few comments while it's being set up. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Um, First of all, let me thank my sister for being initiative. As I said to her earlier, it's never easy swimming against the tide. It's never easy swimming against the tide, and that is what she's doing. So we must all do our best to encourage her as she seeks to galvanize people, opinion, discussion, and debate around addressing what is that most basic human need, the need for housing, particularly in Edo State and by extension across the whole of Nigeria. So thank you again for asking me to come. Um, did you find it? I'm now a retired uh, blogger, as I call myself. Um, and with retirement comes some privileges that I can set my mind and not be scared of being sanctioned for it. Um, for over 35 years in the housing space, I think one of the things I like to do today is to share some of my own experiences around the way that we are addressing our housing need. I'm going to start with the presentation, and whenever it comes up, I will jump in from there. Over the next 20 minutes or so that I expect to speak, over the next 20 minutes, about 350 families will have moved from some of our rural areas into one of our big cities in Nigeria to live over the next 20 minutes. By the end of October,
About 25,000 of those families will be looking for a house that to live that they can afford. Okay. Of those 25,000, about 23,750 of them will have no choice but to find a home in one of our informal settlements that we call slums, or living with a relative and sleeping in the floor of a house of a relative. That is our housing condition today in Nigeria, and Edo State is not an exception. That an overwhelming percentage of our population are struggling, are struggling to find a house that is affordable to them, that is decent, that they can live on. Okay? I'll just move on to the next slide now. Next slide. That's why, next slide. Okay, we are still working on it. So, what is the key message that I want to pass on? That in spite of many of our conferences, I think my memory serves me right, it's not the eighth housing conference so far this year that I've either had of attended or that has been held. So we are not short of having conferences. But today, it is more Nigerians lack access to decent housing than they did 30 years because they are not building enough houses that people can afford. I remember in the 80s when it was possible for somebody to come out of a university or a polytechnic or a teacher's training college and be able to afford a three-bedroom flat on their salary in many of our secondary cities. That is no longer the case. We must embark on a large-scale housing program that meets the needs of Nigerians. And whereas government is doing a lot of things, there have been a lot of initiatives by government over the last 20, 30 years. They are not simply sufficient. They are not doing what government expects them to do, and they are not meeting the needs of Nigerians. We must do something different. And is the key message that I want to pass to you today, that we must do something different if we are to have a chance. If we are to have a chance to ensure that the lack of housing and that is affordable and that it is decent does not degenerate into an outright crisis. So we are falling backwards. We are falling backwards because a combination of rapid population growth, Nigeria is growing on average about 2 to 2.5% per annum. So if you take our population today at just over 200 million, it means that our population is growing each year by just between 4 and 5 million people are being added to our population every single year. And a lot of those people are moving or will move to live in our city. The current rate of house building is falling significantly behind the need. As I said, in spite of multiple interventions, there's been no real shift. And we can give examples. Started and headed the family homes funds, and we set up wanting to do 500,000 units over 5 years. At the end of 4 years, we did just over 31,000 homes. So by any degree, if you were a school teacher, you rate that as a what? is an F. Okay? It is an F. And that fund has built more houses in 3 years than any other government intervention since independence. So that gives you the scale of the challenge that we have. We are falling backwards. Albert Einstein says that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. We currently have a housing market architecture that is not, by view, cannot deliver houses for many of you who are sitting here today and for the millions who are out there in those states and the wider region. I am convinced beyond reasonable doubt that the current architecture and structure of our housing market cannot deliver the result that we want. And therefore, there is a need to urgently change some of our dominant assumptions around how the housing market should work if we are to see very different outcomes. Okay, so there's that interesting picture there that basically we are relying on an assumption that is something that we can achieve, but we are really just falling over the cliff. I don't want to mention names because I don't like to do that, but the truth is that the market is not working. It's not bringing enough homes to the market for the people who need them. And so I want to suggest 5 things that need to be rethought to ensure that for many of you in this room, for the millions of Nigerians out there, that we can begin to reconstruct our housing market and the assumptions that go behind them. The first one is that we need to decentralize housing policy making and delivery. What does that mean? Nigeria is a federation of a federal government and 36 states, and depending on which side of the fence you sit, Abuja is a state or not a state, but I will not enter that discussion. I will leave it to the lordships. Okay? But over the last 40 years, including 12 national housing strategies and policies, have all been made at the center by the federal government. That is where all of our national housing policies, the latest of which was signed by the previous housing minister in May 2023, were all made, signed at the federal level. In some cases, in fact, I just say in most cases, without any unlimited consultation with the state government. We must stop that. We must stop that. Policy making must be decentralized. Therefore, what will then happen on the other side of the coin can be believed. But I am fairly certain that there's hardly any state today in Nigeria, and please correct me if Edo State is an exception, that has its own state housing strategy. You do. How do you have it? Okay, so you don't have it, it's under preparation. You don't. Since many of the states have been created, they don't see it. So people say, if you plan to fail, if you want to fail, if you want to plan, you already plan to fail. Under our constitution, land will be key ingredient of housing delivery sits with the states. But these same states who have the land don't bother developing a housing. I told you on the tax, I can say it, states. don't bother to have a housing plan or a housing strategy. So please tell me, how, in the absence of a plan, do they expect to deliver? With a housing knows housing is a local business. Housing is a local business. Before now, one of the largest interventions in affordable housing in Nigeria is the Shagari housing scheme for the same reason. And some people started in Lagos, developed a national affordable housing program. The state refused to cooperate with them, and today, almost what, 79 to 83, what, about 40 years later, a lot of those houses are still in the bush, unoccupied. We must decentralize housing policy making. The state must take responsibility and be enabled to make local policies for their own local housing need, because every one of the 36 states in Nigeria is facing very different housing issues. There is no one size fits all. The states must play a more prominent role. That's my first submission. And I'm not going to come here saying we should build house this way or that way. Let us deal first with the fundamental. I do not see how a state can aim to provide housing for its own people if it doesn't have a plan. It just tells me that it doesn't intend to do it. States must prioritize and take a hold over developing their own local housing strategy. Next slide. In that same vein, we must strengthen the capacity of state governments, and I did say, by extension, later, the local governments to develop their own local housing policies and implementation capabilities. So I've talked about local housing policies, and I'll put some specific recommendations about how they need to do that. But I want to talk about their capacity for implementing a local housing policy. First, states need to understand what is the housing need in their own states. They need to understand what kind of houses are needed. Where is the house needed? What can people afford? Which land needs to be set aside to ensure supply for those houses? That is the response that state governments must take on. And capture all of that in the concept specific local housing strategy. I say again today that I do not know of any of the 36 states of the Federation that can put a document like that on the table. That is why we don't have houses. And that's every other action is sporadic, it's unorganized, it's something people do when they have nothing else to do. We must shift into a serious agenda. Beyond policy, implementation capability must be decentralized. I have a horrific experience over 3 to 4 years trying to deliver a big housing program across 36 states. It is not going to work. That is the reason why it was not possible to achieve what we wanted to achieve. Just from the pure operations alone, it doesn't make sense. So we must rethink some of these presumptions. If then that was the case, the primary implementation capabilities of our states lie on the public sector side in the the housing corporations, right? Or as we call it in Edo State, I think it has a different name. Edo properties, right? I think something like that. But again, as I said, I'm retired, I can say as I like. All of our housing corporations, by whichever name they are called, are today not fit for purpose. They are bad, they are inefficient, and generally have no clue what they are doing. I had the opportunity to meet with the Association of Nigeria, which is their umbrella body, and refuge. With the exception of one or two of them, none of them was building 100 houses a year. No, it was building 100 houses a year consistently. So when my sister said Edo State have a backlog of what? You said 400,000. Okay, bear in mind, bear in mind, we don't need any magic to tell us that a lot of that housing need is going to be for people on what? On low income. Because we have taken there, I went on the income survey of the Bureau of Statistics 2021. And 78% of the population in Edo State is earning less than 300,000 naira per annum. So houses of 15 million and 10 million is not going to be for most of these people. It's not going to be attractive to the mortal gardens and the private developers. The people can build that and the property development company. So if there are 100 houses a year, you need to be praying because that means you take them what? 4,000 years. I don't know about you. Even in the Bible, Methuselah did not live up to 4,000 years. Okay? So, no chance. We must strengthen the capability of these institutions to deliver at scale. We must strengthen the capability of these institutions at scale. So, first, local housing strategy. Without a plan, you already plan to fail. When you have a plan, then you must deliver the muscles and the capability to execute that plan. Next slide. The third suggestion I have, if we are to change things, is we must collaborate to innovate. We must collaborate to innovate. I left architecture school in 1983. People are still building, they are still designing houses today the same way they designed it in 1983. Most of you use computers, right? And you use phones. The mobile phone of 1990, is it like the mobile phone of today? The car of 1990. Did you any of you ever saw the picture of Redefining phone of 1990? You look what that car looked like. Is it like the car of today? Housing is one of those few industries that appears to have slept while time passing by. We still design the same way, we construct the same way, as if technology never, as if technology never. I'm not an engineer or an architecture school. The same mix of content, and the engineers are building people here. The same mix of concrete is 136. Is that not right? Right? You know what it is better than that. Actually, from 1980s, and put that cement, the quality of cement is stronger. So it tells me that we need to be, but things has never changed. The essential character of the ingredients has changed. We have not changed design. We have not changed, we are still doing anything. And this is not about architecture or quantity surveyors or engineers. We must collaborate to improve the process of housing. Somebody once told me that if cars were manufactured or built the way we are building houses, very few of us will be able to afford to build a car or to own a car. Because there was a time when every car was handmade, and then only the rich who could afford a car. Now, thanks to Henry Ford, we are all able, generally, many people are much more able to afford a car because the system has been industrialized. But actually speaking, houses are still being built by we must stop it. We must stop it. And it is critical for us to stop it. Because if we keep building the way that we are building, 80% of Nigerians have no chance of owning a home. If we keep building the way we are building, if we keep designing the way we are designing, if you keep specifying the way we are specifying, 80% of Nigerians, we can sit here and talk all we want. They will never be able to access a decent and affordable home. And that calls for collaboration. It calls for collaboration, not just of the people who are in finance or in life, what activities that you have to do with building a house, we must work together to bring some new ideas. We use the traditional. We are in the realm of artificial intelligence that's overtaking the world. I don't know how the building and the housing industry will cope with that because we are still in the dark ages. These people have moved to artificial intelligence, but not even the edges that they have left. I don't know how we're going to manage it. We must collaborate and think outside the box. Next slide. The next suggestion I want to make is we must be bold. We must be bold. It says, fortune favors the bold and the courageous. What I hear when we talk about innovation, doing things differently, is that let's not change it because it's how people like to have their houses, that everybody must have rooms that are so big, and all of this kind of nonsense. Okay? We must change the way Nigerians think about their houses. In this city that should be Benin, as in many cities, there are huge houses that are lying fallow. Because somebody years ago built an 8-bedroom house. The children are now all left, or they are in Lagos, and the house is what? Is empty. But 80% of the young people in the city are looking for a decent place to lay their heads. That cannot be right. And people will continue doing what they want or what they are used to until someone has the courage to change tastes. Every industry, every progression of human endeavor has been because somebody took the goose by the horn and decided to change the way we do things. Who would have thought, even in 2019, that we are going to have a world where now more people are working from home than from offices. You probably will remember that if you told your boss, can I work from home today? You will ask you something wrong with your head. It is not. It is not. And I can tell you, in the next 10 to 15 years, the notion of work today, as we know it, disappear. Housing cannot be different. You have a generation of young people, 70% of our adult population are below 27. They live in the older generation. They don't want to cook. They are going to be ordering their food. So you still want to be building huge kitchens for those kind of people and not consider the waste. We must be bold and change market taste. If we continue to do what we are doing, what we are really saying is that a good proportion of Nigerians will never have access to a home. Continue with our conferences. Okay? Just two more, and then I'll sit down. The next one is almost all of the 12 national housing policies that we have had since independence, apart from them being national and all of them have another thing in common. They are all around housing ownership. They are assumed, maybe because the people who drafted them were old people, that everybody now wants to must own their own houses. We must throw that out of the window. We must throw that out of the window. The notion of rental housing and housing as a utility must be essential, a key part of our housing strategy at the local and national level. We must change the notion that, and I see some developers advertise, don't be a tenant, be a landlord. Because we must destroy those kind of things because they are sending the wrong message. There is nothing wrong with being a tenant. For many people, number one, more Nigerians are renting their homes than own them. The problem we have is not with rental house. The problem we have is that houses are being rented by shallow landlords, no protection for tenants, services are poor, the quality of things that are rented are poor, and sometimes unaffordable. That is the problem we have to address, not through the bailing out of the bathwater. We must produce a significant proportion of housing that young people can work their mobile and rent in a good quality environment that is well managed with security of tenure. As long as they pay their rent, you cannot change them out. Okay, if they then choose to go and buy a house when necessary, that is fine. But don't force everybody into something that is not right for them that stage of life. We must mainstream housing for rent. It should be aware that you are someone just starting out life. It should be okay for you to have a good quality accommodation that you can rent that is good quality. It is not, it is a big and a good roof over your head. The final suggestion I want to make, if we are really going to change things, if we really are serious and we don't want to keep going on about all these conferences that doesn't mean anything, is that we need to think thoroughly about sustainable financing for these goals. We must think thoroughly about sustainable financing for this goals. And it is not difficult. It only appears difficult because we don't have a plan for this. Once we make it to have a plan that this is we are going to finance the houses, we can implement those because housing is a highly valuable, it is an asset backed interest. It is the experience of every market that operates an efficient system of housing. You need to have at the state level, and those things must be very clear. If you are going to need 20,000 houses, what is the framework for financing it? Think about things about 500,000 homes every year. Well, that's because we decided, not because we want to do that. 20% of citizens, every citizen's income goes into a fund that finances housing that ensures that whether you're poor or you are rich, you have a decent housing over your head. It is their framework, and they've had that framework since 1964, and it's working. You must have, but you don't have the framework. It's this one today, another one tomorrow, another one tomorrow, nothing is happening. Okay? So those are my main solutions. We are falling behind. Next slide. Just to very quickly recap, we must decentralize policy making. We should let the states lead. We must therefore, in doing that, not just hand over the hot potato to them, we must build capacity of the states to make and implement local housing strategies. We must decisively pursue innovations along the housing value chain. We must influence market preference and stimulate adoption of local construction methods. We must mainstream rental housing and develop a sustainable framework. And the slide, please. After all said and done, the future is in our hands. The future is in our hands. We can see ahead what is before us if we keep going the way we are going. The choice is, are we going to choose to do something different or to pursue the path of insanity and continue to do the same thing and experiencing a different result? Thank you very much.
Oh, he spoke our mind, didn't he? And he said, he's retired. So he said his mind. I think he spoke our minds. And so at this point, I'd like to invite the representative of the MD of the Federal Mortgage Fund to address us. Welcome, everybody.
Good morning, everybody. I know it's still morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please permit me to stand out and to think protocol. My name is Mrs. Ndosu Chika. I'm branch manager of Federal Mortgage Bank in New City, Edo State. I'm here to presenting my managing director, Mr. Wadi Hawan. Managing Director and Executive of Federal Mortgage Bank, Nigeria. He's unavoidably present ultimately presenting to deliver a paper like making address on financing individual housing affordability in Nigeria. Financing individual housing affordability in Nigeria. The impact of FMBA. I count it a great honor to be invited to deliver the keynote paper at this landmark event. I would like to seize this opportunity to commend the members of the General Turkey Project Limited for the initiative in organizing this conference, especially one that touches on the theme of affordable housing, considering that housing is significant in promoting the welfare of the citizen and is also a critical component of the economy. Affordable housing is a front burner in the agenda of the present government and a great concern for stakeholders in the housing sector. Import is more than just a shelter. It's a center for family and provides individuals with a sense of community, personal identity, and self-worth. The global affordable housing gap is currently estimated at 330 million urban households and is forecasted to grow by more than 30% to 440 million households, or 1.6 billion people by 2025. Recent data suggests Recent data suggests that around 80% of cities worldwide do not have affordable housing options for half of their population. In most countries, the cost of housing has grown faster than the economy. In Ukraine, there's an acute lack of well-located urban housing that is adequate, secure, and affordable. The importance of house ownership cannot be overemphasized enough, owing to its positive impact on the welfare of the citizen and the economic benefits accruing to both the populace and the greater development of the country at large. The enumerated benefits of housing to the individual include the roof over their head, facilitating access to education and health services, and improving physical and mental health. Gains to the economy comprise the creation of fixed capital, employment creation, investment, and improved productivity. Globally, it is established that nations with a well-developed mortgage sector have witnessed economic growth as a consequence, averaging between 6.9% and 18.5% of their GDP. The housing sector contribute to their GDP in those countries is on par with their manufacturing sector. Housing sector in Nigeria. The World Bank says 22 million people in Nigeria do not have the housing they need, the highest number in the world. For years, Nigerian authorities have been pledging to address the issue, but without much results. In 2019, government officials pledged to supply 1 million affordable houses each year to help meet the demand. Nigeria's real estate market has been expanding rapidly, but so has the number of people in need of housing. In comparison, the real sector The real sector contribution to GDP in Nigeria is a dismal 3.3%, while mortgage debt penetration and housing loans penetration in Nigeria is less than 1% of GDP. The implication is that the housing sector in Nigeria is fully funded, and the consequences are reflected in the chronic housing shortage plaguing the nation that is estimated at 22 million. The factors are affecting affordability of housing. The key factor affecting affordability is, of course, household incomes and expenditure, both of which shape the amount that the household can dedicate to repayment of their loans and access to finance, given such repayment costs. Income is notoriously difficult to determine. The criteria for housing to meet the term affordable housing is that it must be adequate in quality and location, and that it does not cost so much that it denies the homeowners from meeting their other basic living costs. However, it is pertinent to note that attempts by previous governments to provide affordable housing to Nigerians has failed to meet expectations. Accordingly, the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria has established the following factors as bottlenecks to providing affordable houses in Nigeria. Number one, lack of long-term funds. Two, properties, approvals, and title paperwork. Number three, Land Use Act. Number four, infrastructural inadequacies. And number five, high cost of building materials. Federal Mortgage Bank role in housing affordability. To circumnavigate these hurdles, Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria has over the years acted within its mandate to promote and ensure housing affordability for Nigerians by developing innovative low-interest products and services that are competitive, flexible, and affordable. Accordingly, customers may avail themselves of low-interest products that are capped at maximum of 6% interest and that are specially tailored for individuals to finance home ownership, such as rent to own, rent to own scheme, home construction loan, and home renovation loan. The launch and introduction of these products has proved successful and popular within Nigerians, with Nigerians in fact highlighted by the over subscription of these products. As a consequence, loan disbursement by the Federal Mortgage Bank to meet the strong demand for the various products categorized are total to the sum of 2 billion, over 2 billion naira for the rent to own scheme, over 225,000 naira for home construction loan. This is a new product. Then over 231 billion naira for NHF mortgage loans, and 92 billion naira for home renovation loan, for a cumulative number of 113,948 948 as beneficiaries. That's people, the number of people that have benefited from the cumulative of all these green deals. Also, the sum of 299 billion has been spent for 24,000 housing construction in different estates located across the 36 states of the nation. FMBM projections and future goals. Giving Nigerians high growth rate put at 3.62% as of 2023, the considering that 46% of its roughly 200 million people is comprised of youth, and the current housing deficit that is estimated at 25 million, the condition is set for strong demand of housing. The FMBM projection for the near and long-term future is of a high, consistent, and persistent demand for housing. The FMBM will continue in its role as a premium and foremost mortgage institution in Nigeria, providing novel mortgage solutions and innovative products and services at affordable rates to Nigerians. In conclusion, having highlighted the economic and welfare benefits of affordable housing and established affordable housing is more than a necessity, but an inalienable right of every citizen. It is only art to go beyond semantics and chart a course of action that achieves the desired goal of providing affordable housing for the populace. The demand and the market exist, or the demand and the market exist all that is required in the marshalling of political will to create innovative solutions that unlock and direct financial resources towards facilitating the provision of affordable housing for the teeming populace. While once again appreciating the opportunity to take this presentation, I thank you for kind attention. Thank you for coming.
Right. How we're to write our questions down, talks that they want to use public residents, stuff to be right. So you have to understand this to be fair, it's totally the attendance where as long as to this. What we have speaker addressing it, you can notice where it's already past. Great. Why do you do that? Call our next speaker and not be some references. Okay, so I'll give you the intro. Why do you go third? What is it? What is presenting is our own proposal. We're talking about unification, collaboration, and innovation. And we want it to be coherent and reviewed against conference. So we're really beginning to go. You can see this so you can see just very straight. Sorry. Okay. Yes. So you can see so you can see this. Our proposal, we have proposed as a company. Remember, we are proposed as a company to we seek to drive the development of 300,000 houses in the growth state over the next 10 years. That's what we want to try and achieve. Obviously, we can't do it in and that's the reason why these conferences are called to bring all stakeholders together to be able to engender collaborations and innovations. So we have ideas which we are sharing and we want people to tag along. And so in the process of trying to design something, We understood that whatever we're designing has to be something that everybody can use. Every developer should be able to use it. Every person who wants to have a home should be able to use it so that there's nobody within the sector that is locked out. And there's nobody who is locked out also by distance, whether you are in Edo State or you're outside Edo State or you are abroad. But you want to have a house in Edo State, you can use this process to get your house. So it's a web app, what we call it. So it's a web app. It's an application that every person in the industry can use, and we hope that it will help solve the problem. When he's done with his presentation, I'll talk about other parts of it. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, my name is Usama Obo, and solutions architect. Not the kind of architect that brings house plans, but I build systems and solutions for organizations and businesses. So my presentation is going to be in two parts. I'm going to first of all talk about the carry solution. Then I'm also going to give you a bit of a sneak peek into the other amazing stuff we're doing with NTP, so you can ponder over it. So okay, let's just go through the sites. So you can see this is the whole page once you come onto the site. Also, you can follow along on power.org. So you can log on anything and follow along also. So you just see basic information about cars. You can see why choose us and a couple of basic things. You can read about it to get more information about what we do and how we tend to approach it. You can also take a look at property listings. These are properties that are available. You can list their properties on the site, and you can also purchase properties from the site. So you can now navigate. Now, the essence why this is a web application is that it does so much more than give you information. What we're trying to achieve was to build a fully automated system that understands your needs and wants without little to no human interaction. So it cannot be hijacked and the process cannot be disrupted. So this system uses artificial intelligence to understand basic thoughts and help you secure your needs. So please just go to click there, yeah, go to main dashboard, please. Main dashboard. Okay. So this is your main dashboard. Once you have signed up and logged into the site, you have this. It's telling you to upload an image. You can cancel that. So we have built an in-app wallet system where you can manage the entire process from your mobile phone. It's basically your house at your fingertips. So you don't have to start worrying about going to an office. You don't have to start worrying about seeing a consultant. You can get a house. You can go through the process of being a part of the corporate from your mobile phone. Now, this main dashboard is divided into various segments. You have savings where you can save monthly. You have your house payments where you can track your monthly house payments. So if, for instance, you want to get out of 5 million there and you are paying 100 pounds every month, for every payment you make, you're going to be reviewed from your house payment. You can also see your next due date once payment has been made. The reason we show this is because you have not put in, this user has not put in money yet. And you can also see your house type. So let's just work on a little bit of navigation. You can go to pay at overview. Okay, now for payment options, you have different sections of payment options. You can pay for your house application, click on and continue. Once click on house application. Okay, so when you click on house application, get a prompt to pay 50,000 naira. We implemented a floodable payment. Then if you click on continue, get redirected. And once you pay, you become an active member. You can actively start applying for your house. Yes, you can pick up a house amount and move on from there. Cancel and go back to pay. Pay please. Okay, go to share capital. All right. So this is the share capital. Your share capital, when you pay your share capital, you are owning a share of the company. Once you have completed your share capital point, you can now your share capital will determine the amount you are paying monthly, depending on the house price and the spread you want to spread it on. So let's define for instance. Let's do 5 million over. Let's do over 3 years, 3 or 4 years. Everyone is fine. Click on it. Continue. Okay. So the system understands that you want to get a house of 5 million naira for over 4 years. Tells you that for a 5 million naira house, you have to make an initial payment of 1%. Yeah, you have to make an initial payment. Okay, let's try for let's try a couple more years. Cancel and go back to share capital. Okay, still 5 million naira. Go down, just scroll, scroll. Go to 30 years. Okay, stop at 29 years. 20 years. Okay, you can see that. So let's say I am a 20-year-old and I'm thinking about my future. I want to own a house in the next 29 years. So you can own a 5 million dollar house in the next 29 years by making an initial share capital payment of 18,000 naira. Then also the system will calculate your monthly payments that you will use on the platform. Now the beauty of this is you don't need to interact with anyone. You don't need to see anyone. The system understands every little step you take, and it also gives you points for every little step. Now, let's say you don't want to own a house, you want to invest. Click on investors, and that's continue. Okay. But the idea behind investment is you don't want to own a house, you want to enjoy the benefits of the property. You can decide to invest into about 100,000 naira and you get a 30% return every month, an annual return of 30% from your investment. So it's multifaceted. It's not just one thing or another. You still have the ability to shop from the current store. You still have the ability to do so much more. And also, please go back to that. But let's take a look at system. Affiliate diagnosis. You also set up an affiliate program for young people that want to make money from this platform. So just by referring someone, you have a link, you can share a link. When someone registers on the site and makes payments, you get money from that entire process. So you can be 16-year-old and make a 17-year-old and you have a thing for marketing. And you can also do this seamless. You don't have to meet someone or you don't have to tell someone you want to sign up. You can become a parent company through the entire system. So the essence of the system is to break down how we can break down the entire process using technology, even smart communication technology. It adds into the no human interaction company. Thank you very much. I will enter the second, give you a sneak peek on the second solution we're trying to find price at entity center. So and we at entity were young tech professionals that have an invested interest in real estate. As a young man, I noticed a lot of things in the housing sector and as a solutions architect, I wanted to change. So when I was 20, I thought about getting a property or owning a land, so because I felt land applicates, why not buy land? In 25 years, I can sell it and build the house, depending on how long to go. So we know there are three financial markets in the world. We know the stock exchange, real estate, stock exchange, forex, and of course the cryptocurrency exchange market. Now, what we're trying to do with a solution called proxy, which is still in the development stages, is basically property, is property exchange. So we all know the thing in the real estate called land banking, right? So what we're doing is something similar to that, but different. Hereby, you know that in foreign exchange, you can invest an amount of money and you can lose anything. You can invest in cryptocurrency and you lose everything. But real estate, it doesn't do that. You can't do real estate. So you have to invest in real estate. When there is a drop in money, so what we do is the first problem is this is not so there is a lot of knowledge for it to invest whatever it is. So we have set up a crowdsourcing investment and
So if, for instance, everybody knows dollar is at 1,000 naira right now, or a road construction is happening, so that should appreciate the property of your land value. So it means that current market trends and the situation you're going to try to chill or wait a bit. So it's one of the solutions we are currently exploring at NTP, and all this is going to be integrated into the carriage site as time goes on. So thank you very much, guys. That rounds up my presentation.
Thank you. Yeah. So I'll take it from here and put a little more um like olive flesh now to what he has said. So this is the app that was presented now, but the app is actually running a group. What we've done essentially, which is not new, it's happening all over the world. I don't know why it's not happening here, is to develop what we call a housing cooperative. So we have developed a housing cooperative, but we don't want it to run the usual way cooperatives run. It's simply going to run on the internet. Nobody is going to gather in my office. So anybody can be a member of that cooperative anywhere in the world and simply use the tools and get your houses and make your payments. I have all your transactions like your mobile app. You don't need to talk to me. If any money leaves your account, you know, and you can raise alarm. I said to somebody in the 80s, if money leaves your account, you won't know until the day they bring your statement of account and you see that it is short, or you want to collect or you want to withdraw everything from your account. But today, if 2 naira leaves your account and you're not the one that withdrew it, you will know, you get a lot. So it's the same way your entire transaction is protected. You're not paying through anybody. And there's also the opportunity to borrow. You didn't talk about the loans. You can loan. Now, if you're applying for a loan, you don't need any loans committee. Whether they like your face or they don't like your face is totally irrelevant. You apply if you're due. The system will tell you. If you're not due, if you're missing, I'll tell you where you're missing and where you need to up before you can get your loan approved, and you get your loans approved. If you are buying a house, you have a list of properties. So for property developers, all you need to do is list your properties and people can take your properties up. So you can list your properties and people take the properties up. Now, what we've also done is that the cooperative is only covering houses that are up to 50 million. 50 million and below is covered. The way we structured it is that once you want a house, any house, for now, pardon anybody who is not in this state, it's strictly operating in Edo State for now. We want to see it producing results before we spread it. Even though KCRS has invited us somewhere else, and we're trying to see how we can delay that a bit so that we can get this done here. The idea is that the cooperative does not need you to pay for the house. Your share capital in the cooperative has been structured to prepare and pay for your house. So all you need to do is to enlist, go through the screening, you qualify, the system will tell you when you qualify, your share capital is paid, you select the house you want and enlist for it. Once the house is completed, you move into the house and you start paying rent. So you don't need to wait until you finish building the house to move in, that you don't need to wait for ages to move into your house. You don't need to wait to finish paying for the house. All you need to do as an individual is to just enlist and then you get your house. Any house you pick, if your house is ready, move into it. If it's not ready, wait when it's ready. When it's ready, you move into it. 1 month after you move in, you have to start making your payments. Now, again, we structure the payments in such a way because we have a slogan, or we're pursuing something. What we're pursuing is that every Nigerian who earns at least 40,000 a month should have their own houses, except they don't want to. If you want to have your own house, you should be able to have your own house if you earn 40,000 naira and above. So now then you don't need to pay for the house. You only need to be a member of the cooperative cooperative and pay your share capital. Once your share capital is completed for the house value that you requested, you have 12 months to move into your house. Now we are arranging developments. Like I said, the problem is huge. We structure the system in such a way that every developer is covered. And we're calling for more developers. In short, we have actually set up a training system to train people who are willing to be developers so that we have more hands that can develop houses for people, just like our MD here said. The rate at which we are producing is totally insufficient. We need to increase the volume of delivery on an annual basis. And if we must do that, the number of developers we have right now are not sufficient to produce the number of houses we want and at the quality we want. I would also like to say, for every other developer that is not working with us, we can't tell for their infrastructure. But for us, when we say a house price is 5 million, that house price includes infrastructure, includes third roads. Now, we've structured this in such a way that the system does not depend on government to run infrastructure. Because one of the major challenges of real estate in Nigeria is government ability to consistently provide infrastructure. And sometimes it's not because government does not want to. Sometimes the funds are limited. No, I'll come to that. Sometimes the funds are limited. I know where you're going to, but we'll take that later. Sometimes the funds are limited. Now, so if you're talking about funding can come from anywhere. I agree with you. But the issue now is that who will want to give you fund when you don't have off-takers that can buy them? Do you understand? That's one problem with funding coming in. Because funding is, yeah, government is already bringing, yeah, no problem. I take you. You are more of a guru than I am, so I will give up there. I won't argue with you. But what I'm saying is that that's why this is a bigger forum. So I'm sure there are a lot of people that know more than me. But what I've tried to do is looking at studying to the extent that I've seen, government over the years have found it difficult to provide infrastructure. So we have houses that are in the middle of nowhere, no infrastructure. We say we have built 1,000 houses here, there's no road there. There's no amenity, there's no electricity, there's no market, there's nothing. So how will people go and live there even if you provide the houses? So what we're doing to make that, because the people we're trying to reach are not the kind of people that the business class are interested in. Because you can't get much profit from this class of people. So it's a social thing. It's not about the money, it's about solving the problem. It's a social thing. Now, government ideally in a number of nations are the ones doing this social housing, but we see in Nigeria it's really not working. So as private sector, how do we help provide solutions? That's what this is all about. So we've structured in such a way that from the people's regular daily expenditure, I always say I'm open to being corrected, but I've always said that the poor spend more than the rich. If a wealthy man is going to shop, he's going to buy cartons of milk, carton of this, carton of that. He's going to buy in large quantity, low cost. The poor man is going to buy sachet milk. If you put what that poor man will spend on sachet milk from beginning of the year till end of the year for the children is far higher than what the rich man is spending to buy milk in his house. So who is actually spending more money? There's more money in the low income class moving every day than the money that the rich is spending. So if we can harness this money on their daily expenditure, then we can in turn it back to solve their problems. That's what the cooperative community is set to run. So the cooperative is set to run in such a way that we set up structures that help cooperative generate funding within itself to fund the people's payments. So all that the individuals are paying is insurance, not for the house. So their monthly payments, the monthly payment for the house, actually not monthly payment for the house, it's monthly payment for insurance. To ensure that if the cooperative business has a challenge and is unable to pay, they are insured because we don't want foreclosure. there's no foreclosure law in Nigeria, sir. Or is it that there's no foreclosure law, but it's not functional? Okay. Okay, so but again, we don't even want foreclosure. We don't want a situation where somebody has stayed in the house for a while and then it's thrown out. So why did you provide a solution in the first place if you are going to now take it from the person? So it's structured in such a way that once you get the house, you don't lose it except you want to sell it or which is somebody else. The system protects the individual. And then you don't protect the developer. So you can go ahead developing houses, not being afraid of off-take. Because you want to get funding, you ask where your off-takers. So when the off-taker know that there's a system that protects me, they can easily enlist for these houses, knowing that they can easily get them. Them. The mortgage banks also feel more secure because there's a process that's allowing their funding to go smoothly. So that's basically what we've done. We've also looked at Emily talked about being innovative about our buildings and daring to be different. I saw Kerry's designs that I put up there. Daring to be different. And he's one very interesting person that inspired me a lot. So what we are doing, we're going clay. We're going brick, we're going clay, we're going rivers, we're doing the ordinary thing. My dream is to deliver strange figures and economy for them that is not possible, but to deliver. Now, but generally, we created a platform for everybody to use, but we are trying to sort out, everybody else business is different business. And for me, mine is more of a charity cause. But if we do charity and do business, society will be balanced. So we need to encourage everybody within the business sector in the system to thrive. But we need to also take those people business cannot take into the entire picture so there's a balance in the system. So what we're trying to do brick and we're selecting materials. We're working with edge people to review the design, review the materials. We're stuck somewhere though. Past that point. So to be sure that the buildings are sustainable, they are energy efficient, and they are off grid, which means that these housing estates don't need the regular NEPA electricity grids to have their basic electricity. If they want more power, then they probably will have to get that for them. What we basic electricity needs light so that you can do a few things and all of that. So that's how buildings has so we'll put those displays probably later so we can look at the buildings, review them, because we want a station where people is critiqued by everybody and it's also open for everybody to adopt. The fact that it's coming from us does not mean you can't use it. Please, by all means, if there's anything that we're presenting in this place, we want a situation where people can adopt it. Because if you adopt them and you use them, I guess it will make this whole process easier. Because the idea is to ensure that people actually have purpose. And if more people adopt it like this, then more people have purpose. So I guess we can start. Yes. So no more presentations. So let's take it start. Get on very solid on their needs to today. If you have your questions and comments, written down. Who is collecting for us? Well, if you have yours written down and your hand up, somebody will let's meet your. If you don't have it written down, but you want to ask a question, you can just raise your hand. They will call you. Okay. Okay. Before we take the questions, I'd like to have comments, maybe comments. Would you like to say one or two things from the premise? Or you want to just take the questions? I'll try it. Questions, you want to say something?
Thank you. I have taken my time to listen to the speakers, particularly
the federal working by and you what I'm talking about. Um, the paper is okay, but I think it's very possible. I think I don't want to speak to ourselves to speak the truth. I'm writing that already. The figures are having put out there for how much they have provided and for the number of things they have provided is ridiculous. Because if you just take an average, my brain is very smart with mathematics. You see that it's not adding up, and that is not meeting the need of the ordinary man. What this conference is about is affordable housing. I was actually looking forward to meeting the MD of Federal Mortgage Bank. That is why I'm here. So that some of these questions or we encounter on the field when we do marketing housing, I thought that he would be here to answer these things. Those figures are not real. And if you can't tell ourselves the truth in Nigeria, there's no point speaking about this. Federal mortgage bank for what it is set up for. I would have thought that on the slide, what they are set up for, the decree that set them up, and the conditions to access the loan. People don't have information. This information should be made available. And then if they are if they are issues, they will try to fix the issues so that it's incomplete. Please, if you can get them to put it up, we still have 2 3 days of this seminar. Let people know how to access the federal mortgage loan. So that's my problem in federal mortgage bank. And those figures are nowhere to be found. They are not true figures. Those figures are not real. They are providing money for police housing, they are providing money for military housing, they are providing money for immigration, they are providing money for customs. They are only talking about the government sector. They are talking about the state government employees and federal government employees not within the military or paramilitary. I'm saying this, my name is Inosa Kume, I'm here to relate. So what happens if you are doing Nigeria like me? I paid into federal mortgage bank now. Somebody asked the question yesterday, when you retire, how do I get my money back? And at one point, and at one point, so these are the purpose of this conference is for us to solve problems. It's not to come and get glossy speeches. Madam, apologies. It's not your signature. You didn't write it. Somebody gave it together. I think that we should tell it. Yes. So that is it. So we need more, we need something else presented, please, from federal mortgage bank. And coming to what you just said, as the government cannot provide infrastructure, I completely disagree. I disagree because smaller countries that are not like that's not Nigeria, we are the giant of Africa. They are doing things right. Before you build, you must have the infrastructure in place. So if government has the land use decree operating in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, then they should be able to support that land use decree with infrastructure. Why should I go and buy the land and you're telling me to get a C of O when infrastructure will not get there to build the house? So I know that government can provide infrastructure. You don't really have budgets for infrastructure every year, and if the roads are not done, open new cities, new towns. When you open it, the first thing that should get there is the road, is the water, is the electricity. And then map out the city for people to join what you are trying to promote. Don't spend that kind of money. That money you are spending for infrastructure can bring in more houses. It is the government's responsibility. That's why I'm saying no, I defend. There are funds outside of these shores of Africa that take care of these kind of things that you are talking about, including infrastructure. Affordable housing is not a dream, it's a reality if you make it happen.
Very important, Everybody's excited.
But Mike, hey,
Like at the same time.
I can't talk. Get me up, man.
Okay,
Yeah.
stop here.
Yes.
Yes.
We are angry about that. That we here so that we give all questions to him.
Father, you take our message to you
Yes.
that the people are calling for his attention. Oh, yes, sir.
That tell us how to assess
Yeah.
Sorry, Chairman. Allow me, allow me to make you angry.
Yes.
Allow me to make you angry. And I will do that because my sister says here that we should tell the truth. And I think that she's right, that the federal body can do more. But as Nigerians, we shouldn't deceive ourselves. We need to.
How?
And so I want to make you think. If the mathematics of the National Housing Fund doesn't work, it was set up more than 40 years ago. It hasn't changed since then. Example, if you are earning 100,000 naira a month, you are obliged to contribute 2.5% a month. So what is the last 500 naira? After 6 months contribution, right, you become eligible for a housing loan. So after 6 months, you've contributed how much? 6 times 2,500. What is that, Madam? Your maths? Yeah? You have just asked me. Okay, now, okay, so it's 5% total. Yes, okay. But I just want to make you angry more. So at the end of 6 months, you've contributed something like about 15,000 naira. Okay? But at that point, you can walk into the bank or you expect to walk into the bank and take out a loan of maybe 10 million naira. It is millions. It's not even of 5 million. The mathematics doesn't work. That's why I'm saying this is how it is setting up right now. So when we are talking about the National Housing Fund, the issue with us as Nigerians is that sometimes, as we say, we want to live where we are. So we don't deal with the basics. If the National Housing Fund will work, we must put more money into it. It is the first contributory financing scheme in the world. I told you, Singapore, who set up their own 2 years after ours, is 20%.
Sense of
Income. And so I agree with you. I agree. Just like everything, taxation, we are under tax. People don't want to hear those things. And I said, I will make you more angry. But let's not deceive ourselves. If the National Housing Fund is going to work, we must put more money into it. We cannot be serious to say that we are spending more money on our phone data, on our WhatsApp, and we say we want houses. Those days are too long. Those days are gone. That was how many of us spend more than 2,500 data on your phone? That is what you are putting into your house. Sure. No. So yes, FMPNS will do something, but don't deceive yourself. The reason they cannot do more is because we are not putting enough into it, like in other things that's undermining our life. So I'll make you angry. Thank you.
shape young men. Of course, it's influence with me was and enjoy benefits of this conference. And thank God I'm here. I was here yesterday when somebody has a question to send it to because for me it's ridiculous. Every month I see something being deducted from my salary. It's not where it's going to. I don't know what it's being used for. It's coming to me and telling me, oh, at the end of 6 months, I am entitled to get these benefits. And so at the end of the day, it's as if it's a scam. That's from one side. And secondly, I am completely, I don't want to use the word that is not, but I totally disagree with you, Olga. I totally disagree. Because if this thing has to work, why can't they refuse their policy? They don't actually have a policy they are using over the years. So prevent this situation in Nigeria. If this thing is not so it's not tenable or it's not sustainable, then why not review your policy? Because okay, when you do this X, Y, and Z point, you'll be entitled to get this benefit. I think it should be clear and everyone understand what is happening in the mortgage industry. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ivan, right from the Ministry of Organizations, the Director of Planning. Sorry, sir. I was not too comfortable with you. I wanted to throw one light and explain to me more that you deduct 2.5% from my salary in the long run. You gave me something which is a loan, not a grant, which I pay back with percentage. I need you to explain it more because you are saying that I'm paying less, that 2.5 is not enough for us to pay. But you're giving me a loan, not a grant. Define it very well. Say, I know the grant, the loan, and which goes with a percentage. And I must pay it and I must complete it. If I don't complete it, you maybe God forbid, one God and I die. My family must complete it. And if they don't complete it, they confiscate anything from me. So the feeling different because when you just present it, seems as if the federal monetary bank is doing us better.
See, because yeah, people. Okay, response, sir. I don't know, man.
Throw that side alone. Side.
Yeah, that's why doesn't change it?
So question was to clarify, is absolute rights was a law. It's a law. The law that federal government ban gives out, it's quite unusual that I will be federal government ban. But I do it because it's our format combined interest. We have to change things for things to work. Is that the law that the federal government ban issues rights is getting what we call that liquidity from your contributions. Okay, so the contributions, the lower capital it has to lend, particularly when it is lending at a sub-market price. So when you put money into federal mortgage bank and it gives an interest of 2%, 2% is an interest, and then on lend to you at 6%. Okay, this is in a country where inflation is 23%. Okay, so the less you put in, the less capital federal mortgage bank has to put in. So the least you cannot all access the federal mortgage bank is that for every naira you put in, okay, it needs what? So about, I think the last about 2,500 million to put the same amount in to be able to give you a loan money. Okay, so you are right. I think it is that yes, we need to reform the National Housing Fund because it is 40 years old. It's no longer fit for purpose. And of the reform of it will be new structures around contribution. So yes, it is a loan, but the loan is the bank cannot print money. The money that is lending out, it is money that you all contribute. So when you put down 2,500, 2,500, or 15,000, 15,000, and you have to lend somebody 15 million, you can see what that is. So that is the point that we're making.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Temidola Shanola, and I actually admire the energy in the room. But I want to say, really, there is no point in getting angry because we are just dissipating energy somewhere else. We really need to look at what do we do for solutions. Um, I served in Abuja. I remember this many, many years ago when Abuja was a new city. As a young graduate there, I actually wanted a home. I was thinking because that time Abuja just had homes, nobody was living in them. But there was nothing, or there was no way I could put down the amount of my deposits needed there. And maybe I should have asked my parents then. They always say that family and friends is the first point of loans, but I never mentioned it to my parents. I see a lot of young people here, and I think we really need to start thinking solutions. No point in you being, oh, the government has to do something, and we don't do something for ourselves. Somebody said, you have to start thinking out of the box. That's what my MDC said here, that we really need to think of what are we going to do, right, to make things happen. And I'll make a statement, obviously, that will get more angry, that you probably pay more tax than you pay into your savings. How much do you pay out of whatever you get in terms of savings? Because money begets money. You cannot expect anything at all to just come to you free. So whatever you have now, if it is 20% that is going to be going out from now towards your mortgage, then you better start putting it together now, rather than you being and waiting that FMPN is going to change the rules quickly, because those things don't change easily. They might change with time, but not immediately. So what are you going to do in your own sphere? I would say my own presentation is not till tomorrow. I'll be talking about green buildings. You might say, okay, we need the homes first, but what we want to say is that we also need to think of our planet as well as we get those homes. Thank you. I want to make or clarify something. The MD rightly said 100,000, and we are talking about 100,000 is from two sides, is about the um, senior senior staff of the federal state government. The salary is very low. And this 2.5 is on basic. It's not even on your total income. It's on basic. So we find out that the contributions are very small. But that notwithstanding, the issue of reviewing the policy, yes, the bank has always been looking out for review of because we are set up by decree. Federal Mortgage Bank does not have the powers to do what it wants to do outside the decree, what is contained in the decree. For instance, we don't have the power to build. We cannot build. We are only going. We are supposed to be
doing secondary lending. That is, mortgage bank will create mortgage, then now refinance. But the mortgage bank does not even have the capital to create the mortgages. So the federal mortgage bank now is doing the creation of mortgages and then doing the refinancing. But so many you might not understand what the bank is going through. And then concerning the issue of not knowing what is happening, yes, I know that one is a general thing about us. When we hear federal government thing, we don't pay attention to it. I know when I've been in this Benin, and I'm here. I've been here since 2014 or thereabout. So I've been here by the time the state government joined the scheme. We went about doing sensitization. You call for sensitization, nobody will come. When they joined the scheme, courtesy of the government, of the present government, fill your form so that we can register nobody. Till today, we are still pursuing people to come and fill their forms. We register them with the staff ID, with the staff number. Their ledgers are not up to date. Now the program where we have now, the IT program we have now, cannot accept any. Some of them will come and say they don't get alert. We cannot upload your payment without the information complete for every one person in that schedule. Why? So,
Okay. So just a moment, please. A lot of people here are civil servants. I have talked with a few of you, and I remember hearing, we don't know anything about Federal Mortgage Bank. We don't even know if they are in town. They have never come for sensitization. We only know that they deduct from our account. We don't know anything. So the issue, I think there's a gap between the FMBN and the state government, because it should be the ministries that should organize it, not the individuals. So it should be so each ministry should organize that sensitization, ensure that all staff are around. So what I'm going to say now is not even you coming. The gap now is because if you are going on your own, they may not have that priority. But it appears there's a gap. Getting the people informed by the ministries was important now, because if the ministries put all their staff together and invite come and sensitize them, there's no way they will escape. They'll be there. Isn't it? Exactly so, because a lot of people say they don't even know, they don't even have an account where this money is going to. They don't know anything about it. Some people even know and they're asking you, they're not getting alert. Most of them don't even know. The only thing they know is money is leaving our accounts. Two officers yesterday came to me and said, Madam, this is a scam. Government is scammers. So it's communication gap. There's a gap there. So
these sensitizations, we do the letters through the permanent secretaries, through the HOS. The distribution of forms we are done through the HOS. Because she wanted us at that time, when it was a lady that's a lecturer. She wanted us to get the forms distributed through her so that she would make sure that it gets to everybody. So we gave her the forms. We now started the sensitization ministry by ministry through the permanent. They will give us the dates, we will get there, see very few people.
Thank you very much, Madam. I will share that. I've done sensitizations ministry to ministry, and I understand. I understand. A few directors here are used to my face because I've gone ministry to ministry talking about housing, raising sensitizations on the fact that people can get housing. From bank to bank, every bank branch in Benin City, I've held sensitization 7 a.m. to ensure that they know banks did not know that they were being deducted NHF. They did not have their NHS numbers. They just felt it's one of the deductions of the bank. As much as CBN, I did sensitization to CBN staff, and they did not know that that deduction they had any entitlement. When that sensitization was done, one of the guys was retiring within the next few months, came to my office to say, Madam, I'm retiring, I can't be collecting house now. The money I've been collecting, any hope for me? I said, yes. The system is structured in such a way that you can either take a house or you collect your savings at the end of your retirement with small interest on top. Now, but most people don't even know. So many people have left the civil service and have dashed government money out of ignorance. So sensitization and communication is key. A lot of people for decades, I mean decades, and this is not only civil service, organized private sector, several people have lost money because they did not know they had a right to either take a student, don't even know they needed, they quickly collect most of them. So I think a lot of sensitization is done and collaborations. Several times we may write letters because each ministry has an agenda and focus per time. So try to get them to give attention to what may not be their priority at that time, may be a challenge. So, but it's important that we keep the communication and sensitization going. I would also suggest, because we live in a digital world now, we don't use phones. The idea of giving people phones for open accounts is quite obsolete. And we're trying to get people who were enlisting with us for the housing scheme. And then we had made arrangements to work with data trustworthy drive. So they sent in forms from Asaba. I said, Oga, can you people digitize this thing? Remember, to start getting people to come and collect forms, submit this one, can we upload? Can we digitize this thing so that people can just go to your website, fill in their information, upload whatever they need to upload, we have created their account. And then, what do you call it now? Link it with what we have. Seamless, no human being in between to stop to affect the process. Because once a human being is on the line of transaction, and they're very sure what for ordinary capital. But when we take out the human factor, then it will become seamless and sustainable. Sustainability is key. What beautiful it is. If we do not ensure that it's sustainable, then we are just deceiving ourselves. Because if it may work now, it may not work again. Like I said, I'll give you a typical example. The cooperative doesn't belong to me. It's a social thing being created. The cooperative law stipulates laws that we have a board. And thankfully, we're able to get key cooperative people to be on board. Former directors, what we call president of cooperative federation, and the key people in cooperative that are on board. Because I'm only going to be there for probably 2-3 years and a half. So if the structure is not set up in such a way that is tamper-proof, somebody will come there and sit upon the head of all the millions of people and just be feeding fast. So it has to be tamper-proof. And I think that will help the federal and suggest that we should digitize some of these things so that people can. And I ask my brothers and sisters, and that's what
I think that you're right, and I'm sure that all encourage federal working government to do as much sensitization and to improve on. I personally think that the bank needs to be a lot more transparent. Okay, there's absolutely no doubt about that. But I really, and I'm curious about this. We are just in what problem of think about you. Otherwise, nothing can change. The fact today is that the federal mortgage bank system is constituted operated and financed has very limited capacity to issue mortgages. So they can set place all like they don't have a capacity to meet the need back. Because until you address that, we are really just talking. Okay? The fundamentally, as currently constituted, it has limited capability to issue mortgages in terms of the capital that it has. That's number one. Number two is the issue of ownership. And I think that speaks to the issue about communication. Federal Government Bank has indeed many institutions, including the one that are family owned funds, we are all central, federal, and it's the point that I'm making. Nigeria has now become a more sophisticated society. What is the population of Edo states? It is bigger than it is big. For example, than countries like Burundi, countries like they are federal institution. There is no reason why to suggest the fundamentals. Is it time now to decentralize first of all in Edo State? You have your own secondary mortgage institution that works in the way that you want and suits your own local need, which is different from what somebody in Jigawa wants. They will put their own as they want. Everybody will be happy. These are the fundamental things that will change in scheme of things. Has it served its purpose? After 40 years, should we think of a new approach? We need to be daring and bold to ask these questions rather than papering over the clouds. For 5 million people, there are countries in Africa that have about that population and their own sustained mortgage system. One of the best mortgage systems in Africa is in Botswana. And Botswana has less than half the population in the district. It can happen. Thank you. Yeah.
Some more questions. Taking something to what you said, there's a need for a state to have a mortgage bank that can package mortgages for adult people. Am I right, sir? Am I right, sir? That's the proposition. There's a need for the state to begin to build or think towards developing a mortgage bank that cater for the mortgage needs of the state. Okay.
I am Amonze Chidori, Director, Policy Planning, Research and Statistics, Ministry of Development. I'm my question yesterday, and I was promised that I was going to get the answer today. And the representative of the National Director, Federal Bank of Nigeria, has me here to answer my question. That question I asked yesterday was repeating. How we should record it and take it to him? Because I've been to your office, didn't get my answer. That's why happy I'm here. I asked a question yesterday that this policy or whatever it's called is from the federal government and it's meant to cater for national housing fund. I am not a federal civil servant. I work in the states. I asked the question yesterday on retirement. Who will I ask for my money or who will show me the house? Because I've been contributing. Yes, by force. I didn't tell you who needed house. I'm already comfortable. Now my money is being deducted. I came to the office. I was asked to go and get a letter from my employer. How did they start collecting the money? How did they start collecting my money without knowing my employer? They have been collecting it. Now I said, I need to know where I get my money. They said, go and get a letter for an notification from your employer. Can we tell ourselves the truth? Where are we going from here? Somebody has a question investigate. Is this really true? Are we going to get a solution from what we're doing? If we're not going to get solution, let's not waste our time here. Please take my message to him. How am I going to get my money? The ones I contributed, how are they going to give it to me? Since getting a loan from them will not work, I don't need a house from them.
Just a moment. I'll check and answer the question. Then you can probably subscribe to me because I facilitated some. Okay, so if you want to get your money saved in federal money bank, you wait until you're retired. You cannot collect it until you're retired. You put your application and attach your retirement documentation to it. It will process it and you will give it. I've done that for people who didn't believe it was possible. You were in the office then, 2014, when those monies were given. The man in question is late now. So when he collected his money and he bought a house on Goshen Garden City, everyone. No, what I'm saying now is that no, when I said help, he didn't do anything. No. He came to my office and I simply pointed him to them because I already was working with them. I just told him, go to the offices on forestry, write your application, go there, put your documents. He came back to thank me. Madam, you work. Do you understand? It is actually because most people are not aware. That's why I'm hammering on the issue of information. Information dissemination. People don't know. Because if you take your documents there was a time, I don't know if you people still publish. There was a time they were publishing every year those who have gotten back their money. There was a publication like that, I don't know if it's still going on. At the end of every year, they publish all those who have collected their funds back. I think I used to get those publications then. So it's happening. The issue is people don't know. Now, I would also like to say, I'm not FMBN, but I think I've worked with them enough to know. I know their staff. In the process of trying to ensure Nigerians have houses, I have studied. See, that's why I have some of this information. Now, if you find out that the reason why they have to get, whether you want to get a house or you don't want to get a house, as far as you're a Nigerian and you earn an income, it is mandatory to contribute to the fund so that there's funds to give out to people who need homes. When you that does not want a home retires, you cannot come and collect your money back with some profit, but you that doesn't need it have facilitated somebody else needs it. Does that make sense? That's actually why it is mandatory. It's not because they want to cheat you, because there has to be a pool of funds. If only the people who need houses, who can't build houses by themselves, and if they are the only people who contribute, the fund will be small to anything. Let's be just like people here said, we need to face the realities of things. You understand? If we face the realities, now there are commercial banks that are operating everywhere. It is the monies that you put together, you save, you fix them. That's why I keep encouraging you to save money. So that you have money to borrow out and make business and get profits. Some of us are in cooperatives here. Have you not applied to your cooperative before and say, wait, there's no money? Is it not the money you contribute to the cooperative that they give you as loan? When there's no money, when the people who borrowed have not paid, you did not tell it to wait. It happens, they'll say, wait, you're queue. It's the same system. It's not different. It's just that this is federal government that is handling it. It's the same monetary system. So if the monies are not sufficient, now I would also like to say this. I know we've heard the anger of they are only facing the military and paramilitary. You know, one area that government tries to face global, not only Nigeria, is attending to their forces. So now when the funds are not enough, and we have to attend to everybody, I guess they are giving that sector a lot of attention because it's a sector that probably needs a lot of priority in terms of encouragement to be diligent at what they do. You know, if you don't take care of them, you can take care of us. If you understand. So you take care of them so that they don't come and take up us. I guess in every country there's some provisions for that. And the fund is not sufficient. So it's not that people are not getting. Some people complain to me when I do some presentations at Christian Well agriculture. They said we went there to apply. They told us they can only give us 1 million naira, nothing more than that. So I said, I understand. They said, Madam, how do you understand? I said, because you don't have a guarantee. What is your guarantee system? The mortgage banks in Nigeria will not give you much money because if anything happens to you, their money is lost. If your job is lost, their money is lost. So the mortgage banks, and inclusive of the federal mortgage bank, have reduced their exposure. So they only give you what, even if you lost, it won't affect the system too much. But when there's a guarantee system, a guarantee structure, then the mortgage system can work more effectively. That's the reason why I'm encouraging housing cooperatives. Housing cooperatives run the US, they run the UK. Housing co-ops, they are called co-ops. Housing co-ops run the system. That's why you can have a guarantee base for individuals to be able to come forth and take because there's a backup. There's no backup. So when you don't have a backup, if you lose your job or you get sick and you can't pay, what happens to the loan system? Do we understand that? So agree that we are in a country where there are a few lapses, there are lapses here and there, but let's look at the critical financial process. It's not magic. You can't take from what is not there. It has to be there first. So, but again, it's in the view of all of this that we came up with this idea of this housing cooperative. And then because of doing it, we have to study other housing cooperatives outside the country and then see exactly how they function. But the one that interested me most is the British the Co-op Group. It's the oldest and the biggest and the wealthiest cooperative in the world. They are 200 years plus old and they are still biggest and they are thriving best. So it's imagine if you are a member of such a structure. You understand? There's this comfort, there's this we have a lot of cooperatives. And the other day I was in a cooperative meeting, and then you had several the number of cooperatives in those states have gotten how many thousands, very many. Now, but a lot of them are not functional, are not effective. There's a communication issue. How do cooperatives actually run? How do people get the best out of cooperatives? There's hardly any ministry in Edo State that does not have cooperative. There are cooperatives everywhere. I'm a staff of the University of Benin. I'm a lecturer. I'm a member of ASU Cooperative. I'm also a member of what do you call it now? Faculty of Agri Cooperative. Of both. And then I joined these things to study them, to study exactly how they are functioning. Why are these lapses? Why are that lapses? Why are these? We tend not to have big dreams to solve big problems because we have been groomed or raised to depend on government. The narrative has to change. The countries that would like to jump out of, they don't depend on government. They create things for government. We've heard of Elon Musk. We've heard of Apple. There's Steve Jobs. We've heard of Microsoft. Which of these people depended on government? We've heard of Trump. Which of these people depended on government? Rather, the nation depends on them. Last I told a short story about a man called JP Morgan. I like to tell this story because it's a big inspiration to me. JP Morgan probably died over 100 years ago, if not almost 200 years. But JP Morgan was one man that single-handedly took America out of debt. Will you find one man in this country today that will say Nigeria is in debt, not complete debt? One man paid the debt of a nation, not just any nation, America. Do you understand? So when we are trying to say government do this, this man took that responsibility. It wasn't as if he took it on his own. He was doing his own business. And like we complain here in Nigeria, the sitting president hated him. So he was using all the instruments like EFCC and to trouble him, to go shut down his factory, they're investigating. Shut this one, they're investigating. They kept troubling him because maybe somebody was envious of his wealth. Now, after a while they were managing the country, came to a point where the debt management came to Bulgaria, and then they needed help. And then the president was going from country to country, from UK to France to ask for support, and nobody was willing to. Everywhere he went, he was telling the person that can solve your problems is your country. Person that can solve your problems in your country. And the person is his hard enemy. How can I go to this enemy and ask him come and solve my problem? And then he went to JP Morgan, called JP Morgan over to the White House eventually. And he came around, talked with him, and told him to give him 48 hours. Called a few of his friends, and they went on a ship cruise. And in 48 hours, the debt of America was paid. Come on, we should start thinking that way. That's my child. We need to start thinking solutions beyond government. Because in the course of thinking these solutions beyond government, you may just be the president tomorrow. So it makes it easier for every other person that you will not be needing this state. If we begin to have mind shifts towards solving problems rather than looking for who do it for us, then Nigeria will get better. That's the encouragement. That we begin to think solutions, begin to think, okay, government is supposed to do this, government is not doing it now. What next? Since the 80s, there has been a huge clamor and bleeding and crime in this country. It has not stopped, it's just getting worse. Are we going to join the bandwagon? Are we going to just keep doing that? I watched my parents lament. It is my turn, and I've said my children want. I will build a better Nigeria to my children. That's my motto. It's what drives me. My children will inherit a better Nigeria. A Nigeria where things work may not look like it's possible. Now, see it working. And I've always said, if I can think it, I can do it. If it can ever enter my head, it means it's possible. A new Nigeria where things work is possible. When people have houses, it's possible. We must begin to think that way. That's the reason why we designed this structure not to depend on government for infrastructure. The government is what we are requesting from government is tax rebates. That's what we're requesting, and thankfully, we're making some proposals for that. Allow tax rebates, give developers the opportunity to come in with funds if they have funds, and develop, give them tax breaks, give them tax rebates, so that they can go ahead and run things and complete them. That's when the system will work. These are things that work. They are not rocket science, they are not new. We're not inventing. Everything I've done, haven't invented anything. I've just put resources from different places based on studies and researches I've done, and I've just put them together. That's all. When I present this thing, some will think, look as if this person is a genius, he just invented something. I realized, did I really invent it? There's nothing that is presented today or I've talked about that does not exist different places in the world. Why can't it happen here? So it depends on you. Now, if you design a system that doesn't need government to spend money to happen, all it needs is for you to put yourself together and make it happen, then what is stopping you? Do we get it? It means that if this process doesn't work, the problem is not government, the problem is Nigerians. That's what it means. Because now you have at your fingertips the solution that you have been crying for. So you can set for any property you like, as far as it's not more than 50 million. You can set for any property you like. Type in the value of the property based on the property there. Your share capital will show. Your savings will show. And then you make your payments. If you can't make it once, you can save it once it's complete, it's there. And then you make this in your privacy. I also like to say that there's no guarantee in this process. There's no collateral. Even when you are borrowing money, that's from this system, you can borrow without collateral, you can borrow without guarantor. Your share capital is your collateral. The cooperative is trading. So if you run away, you are the one that lost. Because the share capital business will keep producing profit. It's not fixed deficit. So it's not tied down, it's not losing value. It's being traded everything. And it's producing profit. So the cooperative doesn't lose. So if a person comes, that's why we don't need any collateral, we don't need any guarantors. So it's so simplified. So if Nigerians are not taking advantage of it, then you cannot blame government. Because it means even if government came up with something like this, you will still not use it right. So I think I'll leave this for my special people here. If they have more comments, please say. From
Well, in terms of sensitization, getting people informed, I talked about paramilitary because we moved into the parliamentary setting to see how they are assessing federal control and how we are able to build the most building for retirement living. There is a system where we have workshop or training once a week. We talk to different sectors from the discuss. But that section is compulsory. You take attendance. There is a time for it, so everybody must be there. So I want to encourage the ministries to adopt the same system. Anything that works in Nigeria, we should try to emulate it. I am saying this because I know when I was going to federal road safety, they told me I can only come in Wednesdays and the time is here. You are not the only one coming to talk to them. Maybe there are 20 people coming to talk to them. So they give you the time and you take your slot and you go. We ask you questions. We went to the Nigerian Correctional Services, the same thing. We went to customs, the same thing. So they have a system for public enlightenment to let their people know what they are, what is available. Every group comes to talk, whether it's a health sector, whatever. But that time is created depending on which paramilitary sector. And it is compulsory. It is headed by the head, the sector head or sector command, whatever it is compulsory to take attendance. So people go there and they get, so there's an excuse. So we should go in doing things. I'm talking about the ministries now. And we must set time to educate people, not only about working, but things that also affect them, either their health or their housing needs, whatever. That must be properly disseminated and things to change. And the government of Nigeria is set up government 90%, private sector 10%. That's the biggest part of us. Everything revolves around government. So government on its own has to start to step back for things to work. If you send proposals to government, it's easy to send. Before you get response, it takes you must go to the eye of the dealer. I talked about Cote d'Ivoire here yesterday because I am building in Cote d'Ivoire. The off-takers in Cote d'Ivoire, whether private or government, get their house through the banks, commercial banks and mortgage banks. You go and register or whatever, wherever you must salary from. That's when you register to get a loan. So they provide you based on the salary to tell you what kind of loan you can get. The private developers build for these banks. And once you have built the house, if you can build 10, you pay for the 10. It's key on hand. The minute you deliver the homes, they pay the developer. And then the off-takers collect them and continue to pay over time. It's a system that's working in Africa. So federal mortgage bank, they have the central collected money. This internet, they are spread to these banks for the workers to be able to access the money. Whether you're a government worker or you're a private worker, I said it yesterday, if you worked everywhere for 2 years, that employer is compulsory must sign off for the job. In terms of collateral, if I am not the Minister of Health and I need a loan, the accounts department should be able to give me a letter. I am a staff in this ministry. My number of years left is 20 years, 10 years black. The loan I'm entitled to will be deducted as source. That's they call it a letter of comfort. It should be easy to give so that they can use it as a collateral. Because it's not everybody that has land. No, as long as you are collecting you are not paying my salary, and I'm agreeing to deduct my source, then you should be able to do it.
Thank you very much. I wanted to just add that some years back, veterans from Congo, from the bank, and from your lawyer, and was working with the banks. From the bank takes that and was asking from the government. From bank takes that and okay, even if government gives you a letter of contract from commercial bank don't want to, because they see all of them as high risk. There's no the system cannot itself be strong. Can fail so often that the people don't trust the system. It's just a moment. The people don't trust the system. That people generally, then the institutions don't trust it. At the point, the people were the only ones who didn't trust the institutions don't trust it. Right now, the institutions do not. You have a contract for what they call that by that's why when government gives you the IPO, they call it, not the IPO to back. No, the time that IPO was a big thing. Once you have IPO, you're doing that. You don't have bank to give you money to run your project. No bank will give you money anymore. They will ask you for elephant plus from photography. They'll ask you for things people they don't want money. They'll ask you for things you can't bring. They won't outrightly tell you no. They will just ask you for things you cannot bring. So, yes. And you are going to present your paper now to him. And he has a presentation today. So, I'm going to give you the floor. Yes. So that we can.
Beloved Nigerians. I'm proud to be a Nigerian. That's who we are. I will not apologize for it. Right? No, no. The truth of the matter is these ideas are very good, but only people enjoy ideas until the people change. It doesn't matter what system you take place. There's a high trust deficit in our environment. So it makes it very difficult for even good intentions to be implemented. So the idea behind what we're doing is to bring out these things to the fore so that everybody sees where you fit into the picture and where you can make the change happen. There are many of my friends who are contractors who will not touch government contracts with the city code, even if it's their father that is government. They will not. I've been burnt. I've been in business as a contractor for years. Institutions have owed me money and things happen. I took some to court. 8, 10 years, they bring the biggest lawyers and they stamp you out of system. That's the country that we are in. So we need to get to a point where we need to have the milk of human kindness, loving each other and doing things correctly, doing things right. People will watch you being trampled upon and they'll be videoing it. That's the country that we are in. I grew up in a country where after playing football at 2 o'clock, you'll be sweating. You just knock on somebody's door and they bring a bottle of cool ice water and you drink and you go to your house. That's the country I grew up in. I wish we have that country back. That is the Nigeria that everybody was proud of. And we need to go back there. The things we're talking about now, they're beautiful. It doesn't matter what incentive you put in there. A Nigerian who decides to subvert it will find a way around it. We are talking these things, we are all Nigerians, we have something at stake. It doesn't matter where you're in Jakarta, you are still in Nigeria, you will come back here. And the opportunities here, I have not seen any country that is blessed like Nigeria is blessed. The amount of sunlight that shines in Nigeria, I don't know where it shines at the equator, I don't know where it shines anywhere else. And we're struggling with electricity. We have so much, but we are thinking me, individual. And that's not where we are. We need to begin to think collectively. We're talking about cooperatives. The whole solar system works like a cooperative. Without the sun, there's no rain. Without the rain, there's no sun. Without rain, nothing will grow. So this is how we have to begin to think. We need to cooperate to make things happen for everyone. The countries that my sister have been talking about. I've traveled to this country. I want to live here because they are not up to Edo State. They are very, very far. The United Kingdom, is it up to Edo State size? I don't think so. But they call themselves Great Britain, and we accept it. We need to begin to take ownership for us, for who we are. Nobody will do it for us. We can complain and point fingers. Us, them, government, is government interested? I was asking, are they spirits? The people that get the government, they are my uncle, your uncle, and my brother, your sister. So we need to begin to talk to them, talk to ourselves. These things can work. We have so much resources. My heart bleeds. Before you know it, now many of us will be tired. And the country that we have will just be dissipating through our fingers. I pray that will not be what's going to happen. You know what I mean? We need to repeat something to them. And what I'm saying this is that we need to take personal responsibility. You in your own corner, do what is right. You in your own corner, do what is right. By that singular act, those that are doing what is wrong are uncomfortable. They won't even discuss it around you, and things will begin to change. Thank you.
Meanwhile, yes, and the cooperative sector in general.
After the question to you, the presentation was so good and the version was so fantastic. The point here is this. What are the security strategies that are going to keep in place? First, there are a lot of instabilities in this country. Policy imbalance, political imbalance, the forest system, the current system cannot predict it what is going to be next year. And people are going to fix it their money and say it's going to wrong economically. How are we sure that the next dispensation of government that comes in, that the whole system will not crash? How are we sure that the currency that they're going to put, the value of the currency put in there will worth it next year? If the currency changes, the balance of the currency. Have we put all those things into consideration before we come up with this? Thank you.
Thank thank you very much for that question. Now, I get you correct. We talked about the fact that in current in Nigeria, especially, and that by next year, how I'm sure that our systems do those. Okay, first of all, before the system is come up with it, people with years of research and know the formulas. So we just come up overnight. Then by 33 have been great conducted more than 10 years of research. So in 10 years, in the last 10 years, the dollar rate has gone from 200 naira to 1,000 naira, and the system still works. So if the dollar rate goes to 2,000 naira, I'm talking, the system will stay. It's a guarantee that give to you. And like I said, it was not built on top of a government system. Everything was built by a team, doesn't depend on any external media like government. So it was constructed fully by a team. It's self-sustaining and it was built on AI model. So what our government does, systems do it. Thank you very much.
I'd like to add to that. If you study a few things with businesses that have survived for decades and some for centuries, you realize that they are not driven with government in mind. They are driven with the market indices in mind. Anything that is market driven is sustainable. So the more the dollar goes up, the more profit is made. Do you understand? That's like I mentioned. So if no matter how the market runs, it's dependent on the market demand. So once it is market driven, it is naturally sustainable. But if it is policy driven or particular government driven, then there will be a problem because you don't know when what that will be next. But the trends you have in society is that housing will always be a demand, money exchange will always be a demand, prices of things will always go up and down. People complain, this may be a little long, people complain that market, if you invest in stocks, the stocks may crash. And when it crashes, it's a huge loss. What people don't understand is that the stock market is never a loss, never a loss, never a loss, never a loss. Because the stock market is always a cycle. Once you understand that the stock market is a cycle, you don't get worried. Sorry, sir. I'll take a question. A typical example that will help you understand the young man, the 90 something year old young man called Warren Buffett. He has bought stocks since he was 9 years old and he doesn't sell. Warren doesn't sell. That's why he's the highest shareholder in Coca-Cola today. He's not the founder of the company. He has invited their stocks. He owns a lot of companies today that he does not know when they started. He just buys their stocks. He buys them small, small, small. He doesn't sell. That's why he has remained a billionaire since the 60s. He's still a billionaire till today. Count the top 10 billionaires, he's a billionaire, but he doesn't sell. When he closes down, he's sipping his Coca-Cola and burger. And then when the thing goes up, he just buys. When the stock goes up, he uses the stock as a basis to borrow money and buy more stocks. He will use his stock as collateral and borrow money from the bank and buy more stocks. That's the cycle. So if you study it, that's why I said that if we can just open our minds to more information, we'll be liberated. The stock market is not as dangerous as it is painted. It is always a cycle. It's a cycle of about 8 to 10 years. Every 8 to 10 years, the stock must crash. If you understand that, then you can do it. Every 8 to 10 years, stock globally, every country, global, it must crash. It will crash and it will start rising again. That's why the stock is called a what? Global bust, penny go, another thing. Come back. Hausa go. Is that how Hausa in primary school? Exactly. When you blow it, get to a point, it will bust. So it's called a stock market bubble and bust. If you study the stocks for the last 100 years, it's the same cycle. Once you understand the cycle, and you know you skip those days. You just watch the rock, isn't it? And you know when to jump in. That's exactly how it is. So people want to buy stocks when it's doing well. That's the wrong time to buy stocks. You buy stocks when it's crashed, when it's at rock bottom. All the companies are crying. So that's why people always say, study Warren Buffett. When he starts buying, when he starts liquidating his assets, you know that there's about to be a crash. The stock market is about to crash. The reason he's making sure there's enough money on ground is because he wants to enter into the market again to buy. So it's never a loss. Just like when we talk about land, you can never go wrong with land. Never. Never go wrong with land. 2008, when we started this process here in town, and then studying lands, Benin City ended at Emory area was just picking up then. Those of us in town know Emory area. Right now, Benin City is up to Olumo. I hope we all know. Can you imagine that? Benin City is up to Olumo. Many years ago, Benin City ended at Bo. Then it moved to Isibo. Then it moved to Olugu. Then it moved to what we call where the Tollgate. Now where is Benin City? Ekiatolo. Ekiatolo was village bush. Nobody wanted to have anything to do there. Land, you can never go wrong with land. Those lands, just these few years ago, were almost worthless. 10,000 naira. I'm even going too far. 2000 and I think 2000 and Was it? No, not 2000. I think that was 1990, 98, 99. My mom had the privilege of buying, she was doing very well. She had some money then. She had the privilege of buying a lot of land on country. It was bush that time. And to say, what will she use land to do? She has a house, she's comfortable, she's comfortable, she doesn't want to invest in land. I said, Mommy, buy. Even if you're not going to use it now, just leave it there, buy. She said, no, no, she doesn't need it. And then we came back. Today, sometimes you just start lamenting, she knew that she should have bought. Do you get? You can, country home is now GRA, I mean, but then it was a forest. It was Oba's papers that were still being issued because all those areas had Oba's land title, Kensworth signature. That was what was all over that area. Now it's GRA. Eh? We have extended an extension amount, but it's now GRA. I think, or who knew then that it would be that? So you can't go wrong with land. The truth is that the way life is going, things just keep getting more expensive and more expensive. So once you invest in critical assets, you would always increase your income. The only investment that we are not yet we don't understand too well yet is forex. Sorry, is crypto. Crypto is still something the whole world is trying to understand. The reason everybody jumped into crypto is because people are just becoming millionaires overnight. Everybody now went there and crypto now came crashing. And we don't know when to wake up, we don't know how to wake up because it's something we really don't understand. Stocks has been on for several, at least for over a century. So we understand it, can understand the side. But for crypto, we really don't understand it yet. So it's difficult to speak to it. But this, I said all of this was to understand that a lot has gone into study to see what best secure people's investment. Understanding it because, especially because of the fact that we don't own the process. We have not designed it to own it. And if we've not designed it to own it, it's being owned by society and we're going to keep having political leaders, then the system should not be in their hands. The system should be automated in a way that it's not in the hand of one person or two people or a few people. That's what we've done. And then we set up the structure in such a way that the financial system supports the people. And I said it's the policy, the principle of the broom. One broomstick can sweep this floor clean. But if you pack probably 200 or 500 sticks together, once you do make one move, you have a clean floor. That's the principle of the cooperative. What your 10,000 cannot do for you, 1 million people putting 10,000 together, all their problems will be solved. What your 100,000 cannot do for you, if you put 100,000 times 1 million, that's what? That's 100 million. Did you hear that? That's the power of numbers. That's the power of numbers. 100,000 from one times 1 million people is 100 billion. That 100 billion will do for everybody in that number what their 100,000 cannot do for them. That's it. And once you have that kind of pool of funds in any system, you have other funding organizations wanting to fund it because they are confident that it's a system that already has cash, so they are not afraid to add to it. Do you get? So that's why cooperatives, if they are seen to be diligent, attracts funding. See organizations who are willing to give grants. We did all these profits we talked about, we not talked about the grants. Because the cooperative now has the opportunity to attract grants that can come to the cooperative and facilitate a lot of things. So the cooperative is a very powerful tool, and we are using this to demonstrate that it is a one, and we need to create of such items. Thank you. Can round up now, and then let's allow our guests to go and sit down. Thank you very much. So that I can live in
Thank you very much. Just put our hands together for them again. I will very happy to be here. To be rubbing minds with the people on this island. I'm sure you have gained so much this evening. I have. So today, my name is Chima. We talked yesterday in the afternoon, and I'm here again today. Hope you don't get tired of seeing my face. You're welcome. My name is Chima. I'm a product manager. I'm an architect. I'm a father. I'm married to one wife, and I have passion for in construction. I've heard all that we talked about, how we arrange the money, how we put it together. But at the end of the day, one soul is going to dig the ground. And that's why I'm interested in the people side of construction projects. We started the PMI in Nigeria to bring in some international certification into our country. And in the 2005, there were 5 of us who brought PMI into Nigeria. And I thank God for what it's become today. We are no longer actively involved in it, but it's something that we are very proud of. So if you have the chance, please join the PMI. It will help show you how to structure projects. And we even do projects that we've been teaching for about 15, 18 years now. Pro bono training project managers to get their PMP certifications. That's just one side of it. Like I said, I have many sides. So, next slide, please. So I'll come from that angle in terms of implementation. So what is a construction project? A project by definition is specific, is unique, it serves a purpose, it's tangible, and it's measurable. It's definite. I'm going to this so that we can drill down what a project is and understand how what is not delivered, we can say it's not delivered. But if you don't know what it is, an operation is not a project. A project is something that you specific, is unique, is not been done before. Next slide. Why do you have the project? The reason is basically benefit realization. You need to realize a benefit, and that's why you get into it. There are macroeconomic and there's microeconomic, and of course the social impact it has, and also the environmental impact, which I'm very passionate about. And I'm happy that people from that field are here, because if we continue at the way we're going, we'll have no earth very soon, sooner than you think. So those are some of the things. So who are the providers? And who are the people that are involved in delivering projects? We have the users who initiate it, the providers who make it happen, the influencers, like all the people that are here. And of course, there's governance, which is government who regulates what goes on. Those are the people that are involved in it. Next. Yes. So the users are further broken down: the client, the families, and of course, public utilities who do our lights, power, energy, and all these things. The providers also are broken down to government. Again, we have developers here, I'm sure. We have corporate entities, and of course, individuals who build their own homes. And of course, my core constituency, the design, construction, and project delivery personnel. And those are people that I'm going to be drilling down to this afternoon. Next, please. Yeah. So the silo project structure is what we have, where it's not NEPA. Okay, there's one here. Okay. Yes, I think this is better. so I can get the feel of the place. Yes. So the projects that we have, usually, I say that we have this system where we segregate them and us. It's something that we have inadvertently created as a people. There is the servants, and there's those that they are serving. So there's the consultants, then there's the site workers and the contractors, and then there's project in the middle. So everybody is operating in their own silos. And when I manage projects, everybody is seeing it from his own perspective. And so it takes the project manager to gather everybody together to see it from one lens. Because all you need is one stupid carpenter, permit my language, and you have a building that is coming down. It takes one bad electrician to burn down the house. So that's why we need to begin to collectively take responsibility for the built environment. It comes in different forms. The contractor that doesn't have training that you give your money to, after all this, I mean, I can imagine the energy, getting your money from Federal Mortgage Bank or not getting it from wherever it is, then suddenly you give it to some guys and he just squanders your money. And that's what's going on in a lot of places because we're not paying attention to this group, what I call group think. Next slide, please. Now, this is the people-centric blended project structure that I advocate on my side, and it's worked marvelously for me over the years. I work as a project manager, I've worked as an architect. So when contractors are working with me, 8 times out of 10, I'm controlling the contractors outside of their management. Why? Because the people that are doing the work are important to me. I realize that if something goes wrong with these people, our project is messed up. But we don't take that into cognizance. Everybody wants to train his son to be an engineer. Everybody wants to train his son to be an architect. But no architect makes concrete. None. And if you are close to this workman, you will not be able to know or correct what they are doing. I like the taste of sand. Sand for past taste. I learned it from Bricklayer when we were building in my estate in 1992. Because we count on sites together, we ate what they ate. So we deliver projects faster than the client can ever imagine. I've done several high-speed projects in the country with this so-called dysfunction. Major residences is one of my projects. The family homes from where a new one was one of my projects, 1,000 flats. And we deliver these things because we're in touch with people. Transport that have worked with me 15 years. In fact, our business in construction in Kano today, I don't need to do that. Because I've trained people, I've poured into them. So once it starts, they go there and they deliver. Why? You see, at the center of every organization. And Africa's population, it's Nigeria's population of 200 million, 70-75% is under 40. So we're a formidable force, if you can harness it. So we need to pay attention to these people. Next slide. Yes, teamwork, have an acronym. I do team building seminars for organizations. And what is important to me is that together everyone achieves more. So what you can achieve as an individual, imagine it was only the organizers that were here today. Will you have a conference? No. The quantity of people and what they can put into a system together determines the strength of the system. We've talked about very many places where things are happening. There may not even be very many as we are, but they are getting things done because of teamwork. Nothing works like teamwork. The universe works as a team, and I don't think anybody is wiser than God. So what is a group of people acting together to achieve something? They're acting together now to achieve a common goal. I heard many of the conversations that we were having. the goals are different. That person that you are putting his money away, he knows he needs to give you out the money to you, but the money is not enough. He's not telling you. You're not acting together. When we act together and everybody understands everybody's viewpoint, I know there's been a trust deficit in the country for a long time, and it's going to be difficult if you have been cheated once or twice. You find it difficult to trust people, and that's natural. But my question is, when are we going to start? There needs to be a place where we draw the line and say, guess what? We need to make this team work. Because we don't have any choice. We have to make it work. So, second definition is that a number of people or animals who do something together in a group. And I give examples. A group, a gang, an army, a band, a brigade, a companion, platoon, squad, battalion. These are all names for groups. That's how groups are. That's how teams are. A group of people can just be gathered together. But when they form a team, the one I like most is the gang. You know, the gang is the one that everybody thinks is a very bad thing. But if you understand how the gang works, and a country works like a gang, if I just believe my idea what I'm talking about, you move. That's how a gang works. If you come to some of my sites, in 15 seconds, I'll get a text message from someone that somebody came to our site because we are operating a gang. What's happening time was on the side and one chain of cement got missing. So I just told the client to calm down. Give me 1 hour. We'll find out where it is. I didn't talk to anybody. But because of the relationship we have built, let's go to Sweet, I'll show you something. I got there. And it was there. So no troubles, you can't make a fight. Okay, this cement is our. Who do we sell it to? He admitted the people and we brought them on the advert. There was no police. Are you with me? That's teamwork. The people, I didn't tell them from the site. They stayed on the site and they finished the work. Because that will get their expertise if I told them out on the site. Having worked in construction for this amount of time, I understand these things. There's a huge disconnect between the board and the site. Luckily, I've been in both places. So I understand where the shoe hurts. Next. Okay. I just this is different people that work in construction. We know who they are. The masons, the engineers. I did that. But let's go to the next one. Yes. So in teams, we collaborate. We collaborate because what you have, I don't have it. What I have, you don't have it. But if you bring an idea, is it written that you have a patent to that idea? No. I've gotten ideas from my domestic staff that I've used in the boardroom. And when I wear my tie, you say, this man is very brilliant. You didn't know it was my houseboy that told me. So I have tried to learn from everybody. So as workers, we need to begin to work jointly with others to achieve something and implement a common interest. Again, I go back to that interest. A bricklayer is working for you on an airport. What is his personal stake? You think just weeks on it. By the time you sell the vision to him, the way he will work will be different. I'm telling you, I've done it. This is our airport. So the man finishes dressing the place and you step on it, want to hit you wrong. Not because you're paying him 1 million naira. We keep on misunderstanding this reward system. There are other reward systems that make people deliver. Loyalty is one. So, as we sell that vision to him, he understands why he needs to do his job well. Because this is the pride of our nation. It's our airport. He's part of that hour. And whenever I do these things, it sounds very simple. I come into the office. Imagine coming to the other spot I have inside and see, this thing you are doing is very important. So you appreciate what you're doing. He goes back there, you look for the leaders, you have that conversation with them, and you let them flourish. They will dissipate that same information. Things will not miss on your side. They won't. It also implies understanding of issues and the outcomes. These people have needs. The quality of the housing that we deliver today is in the hands of those people. So if you understand their problems and you're able to solve them, they work with a happier heart and they're able to do your work on time. They're able to do your work quickly, better than if they just did it as a job. They will take pride. Like I said, there's no school of carpentry anymore. Once upon a time, we had the technical colleges where you get the city of guilds. That's the care I'm talking about. In the countries you're talking about, ma, I had a tiler who came to work with me. He had put in 8 years. And I said, he must be a big man. He said, no, I've not got my certificate yet. That he's still learning. After 8 years of apprenticeship, I just went home that day and I was quiet. We need to begin to put in time and effort into training these people. A man that you are quarreling with that is not doing a straight wall, he has never seen a straight wall before. You are expecting the impossible. He's never fixed a plain glass door before. He doesn't know how the hinges work. He will fix it wrongly. He's not been taught. But we do, and our children pass with all the A's and they come out. Send them to site. Then you have to come to do your work yourself. Because it's just a surprise that many of us, that's why all my hair is gray. So I don't keep it anymore because I've fought and fought and fought. But you can't fight what you don't know, what somebody has not been taught. So we need to get back to caring for these people. They are part of the construction community. And we need to be, we need to begin to be to understand what they do, appreciate what they do, and enhance it. Everybody has been career path. We cannot come here electrical engineers, but somebody has been turn the spanner on the leg of that your plane that is going to fly. And it can't be the person who's doing the design. Next. So, but other things that we do is that in competing, there's a state of rivalry. It's them, it's us. No. We are battling, we are fighting. There seems to be a race. There seems to be antagonism. We need to get out of this. When I listen to everybody, I see an atmosphere of strife inside of us. There's anger. We need to take back. I know my mom said, but we have to begin to become objective and begin to see how do I benefit the next person. Because in benefiting the next person, you're benefiting yourself in exchange, but you don't know. So if that cycle of cross benefiting begins to happen naturally, it's going to speed up and solving so many of these problems we have. There are attitudinal problems, there are structural problems, there are attitudinal problems. So we need to stop competing and start collaborating. Next. Yes. And I talk about project staffing here. Get the best people for the job and pay them well. One of the things I've discovered in our country is that we think you can negotiate everything. It's fine. Naira couple is Naira couple, 2 Naira 5 million. But when the people that you have negotiated into the ground come to deliver, the 5 Naira mason and the 2 Naira mason will not deliver the same thing. All right? They will not. There's something that is, especially with professionals, I've seen it. You put an engineer on site and pay him 20,000 Naira, and all of a sudden your cement begins to disappear. And you're wondering why. No, he has a family. He has a family. So we need to begin to be, capitalism should have some human face. Right? I know the person doesn't have a job, he doesn't have a choice, in quotes. So we take them and begin to squeeze them. And that's why we're having this all. It still used to be like giving this person something I think is decent for him to be able to live a life at his level. Let the bad people go. That's hard one. There are some people that are very good at talking, but they don't come. Please, in your establishment, let them go quickly, because they will contaminate the other ones who are giving you service. Train them for better performance. I've mentioned it before. Then train for versatility. It's only in Nigeria he's a mason. He's been a mason for 30 years. So when there's no missing work, it becomes an armed robber. Those are the people that pick your cars. I have had people that work for me from neighboring countries. They are painters, they are tires, they are streeters, one person. So once the work for tiling is finished and he gets to speeding, he's on site. When it comes to the ceiling, he's on site. And all the money goes into their pockets. This is how our foreign exchange lives. On Friday night, they change it to 7. And on the bus home. And we're wondering how our naira is going down. That's how. That's how our naira is down. The most important foreign exchange earners you have are human beings. Oil will finish. Human beings don't finish. Their capabilities doesn't finish. We are the most educated set of people in the US. The most educated set of people in England and Nigerians. Google it. So we have human capacity beyond what we need, what we can use. And please, also, those low income, low people you call, you are just advantaged. If you give them half the chance to get an education, you'll be surprised at how they can do. And I'm going to some of those interventions within systems, personal scholarships, and the boys have come out tops in the university that they eventually went to because somebody paid attention. How to think about people, because it doesn't matter what we put in place, it is the quality of people that deliver the goods. Sell project of the team, I said that before. Listen to their feedback, understand their feedback, then give them credit for their suggestions. I celebrate people. I celebrate my subordinates. I give them opportunity to lecture us like this. So they take responsibility. The ability of the measurement of a good leader is the one that replaces himself quickly. The faster you can replace yourself as a leader, then you have succeeded. When you become no more relevant to the system, you have succeeded as a leader. So I have many sons and daughters that are all over the world doing wonderful things. I hear their testimonies and it makes me happy that yes, I have left a legacy. Next slide. That brings me to the next one, just power and authority versus influence. There's a difference. The policeman that stands on the road and raises his hand for the car to stop, does he have power? No. He has authority. So that authority is very nice. But there's something that is stronger, and that's influence. Authority is vested, legitimate, it's formal, it forces mandatory compliance. But influence is acquired or freely given. It's an unwritten agreement. No, we can't do this to our boss. They'll be plotting your downfall. And somebody will say, no, we can't. Because you have influence upon him. I'm saying this to us because it applies not only on the side, I've seen that apply in different walks of life. When you have influence over their information that some people they will never hear in their own management, but they'll tell me. I know people's birthdays. Sulis has 2 wives. I know that detail. That is how leadership should happen. And we need to begin to become our brother's keeper. So that all these dreams that we're talking about can come together and be fulfilled. So influence recognizes the group, is subtle, it persuades people into action, doesn't compel me to act. But when you look at my face, you know this man is not happy. We need to make it happen. And they've done wonderful things because they want to make me happy. I've taken personal interest in young people because they are the future. Very soon, we'll be signing out, whether we want to accept it or not. And so we want to leave a legacy for these people of kindness. So I had young people are bound to have, their way. So I had this young carpenter, very talented carpenter, who was working for us. Every time he makes money, especially when we travel, he just spends it on women. So at one of our locations, I just said, we go to the bank. I took him to the bank. And they gave him a passport. And I held the passport. So every month, I give him half of his money. By December, He was complaining to everybody that we knew. By December, I withdrew the savings. I went to the market to pick it up. And I said, sign. He brought out, bills. It was way back. Those days were 20 naira. And they brought out bills. It was 800,000 naira or something like that. He was looking at me, said, okay, where are we going to work? I said, no, it's your money. He nearly died. He didn't know it was possible. So he told everybody in our group, and everybody followed me to the bank the next time. This thing is not rocket science. It's just caring. The message we're trying to pass, you can do all the enlightenment we like, but action speaks louder than words. When somebody knows that you care, leave the rest. Those boys will die for me. Right? They will. And I have them over the years and cultivated them. And that's the difference that we need to make in our society. Everybody in your place who is following you, those who are disciple, let me use that word. Who's following you? I encourage them to take exams. Even the ones that failed. I came to your office, remember? I failed the exam, but I've encouraged many people to go and take the exam because I know it's useful to them. And many of them are consultants in different places now. So I'm happy about it. Why? It adds to us. That should be our attitude to people. Next thing. So the hidden keys to project success are the power of relationships. Your templates and your documents and your emails, they're very nice for reports. I tell them emails don't deliver projects. They don't. I've been in it for a while and to develop goals, to develop, holiday results. I've done it for a long time. Many of my projects don't contribute today. But I've discovered that relationships are powerful. The power of communication, the ability to communicate. And communication can be verbal, it can be non-verbal. There are people I call 2 a.m. They'll pick the phone once. Right? Because they know it must be important for me to be calling them at that time. Because I respect them. The power of loyalty, I talked about that. Some people will work with them, they will give their life for you. There's a presentation that needs to happen on Monday morning. It's 12 midnight, everybody assemble in my house. 12 midnight on Sunday. They show up. Why? They are loyal. The individual pride and joint pride. So everybody has an individual pride. There's also the collective pride. This is our project. I have emotional attachments to my project. I remember them top of my head. I remember them all over the country where they are, and those that were involved. The power of public praise and acknowledgement. He must be able to tell you, see what John did. If not for him, this project would have gone forward. That night, John was sleeping. I'm serious. And everybody want to be like John. Did you hear what he said about John? I want to be like that. Give them the praise. You're already on top. The leadership humility. Many of the leaders that we have known and have come to relate have a chip on their shoulders. And it's not the right way. I think the Industrial Revolution is the modern day template for which we do employment. And so whoever is on top, everybody under him is subjugated. It's not correct. When you are humble, you will get results faster. People are going to approach you because they know there's something you are going to deliver to them. Leading by example. By 7 o'clock, I will be on my site. It's not debatable. So if you are coming at 7:30, you will meet me there. Or some bosses strolling at 10 o'clock. What are the boys doing now? That's why your site is not moving. Why should they be more committed than you? You earn more than them, don't you? So your own commitment should be more. It's like those that own businesses. The person who's working for you doesn't need to put in as much as you. The business is yours. So the onus is on you to put in the hours. I've told many of my colleagues and contemporaries, I'll work in the office, I'll work on site 16, 18 hours, no breaking. I've done it close to 30 years. So I'm fit. Hard work doesn't kill you. No, it only makes you tougher because situations will come that require for you to pull out that extra strength. So when they see you do it, your subordinates are going to drink out of that and become like you. Then that's something that you think. Many of us don't have passion for what we do. Please, whatever you're doing and you don't have passion for, resign now. Hello? I'll tell it again. Whatever you don't have passion for, get out of it. Because it's just wasting a life. Right? Get out of it. Passion is what makes people, when there is pain, you ignore the pain and get to the finish line first. So I teach, I am passionate about what I'm not passionate about. Don't get into it. I can assist you, but that's not my thing. And we need to begin to incorporate that into the people that are around us in our organizations. Be passionate about something. They must demonstrate responsibility. Responsibility means when you are wrong, guys, I've messed up. I've said it to my subordinates many times. Guys, I've messed up. I take responsibility because I'm the leader. So our people, when people in the team see you do these things, it helps you to deliver your projects faster because there's sincerity. People can see through you. Don't deceive anybody. Everybody sees through you. So if you are being sincere, it will show. Next. Yes, I said it's people that execute projects. Winning their hearts increases productivity. Many times we think it's how much money we pay. There's a place for that. But somebody cannot be around because the matter is sick. How does that concern me? My friend, go and clock in. That's fine. You will clock in, but others will clock out. And you'll be working that work yourself. There must be a human face to what you do. Initiative and creativity is encouraged when everyone is working on a project with their heart. Once upon a time, we had an estate to deliver. Because I don't want to advertise, but I won't tell you what it is. We had about 400 bungalows, and the governor was going to come to showcase it in 2 weeks. And I sat down, I was sweating, I was head of projects. And this governor was sure. So we started foundations and when we're getting close to the windows. And one of my contractors came in and he said, you know what, Oga, we can put all these lintels now at once and put it in place. I said, are you sure? He said yes. So I said, okay, you guys go. Next day, they did lintels for one house. So what we did, we now called more carpenters, more iron benders, and we just get out the lintels. 2 weeks, all the lintels were ready. So by the time we got to the renovation, all the lintels have just left them into place. Boom. Who helped me? Carpenter. And it's can come from anywhere. Creativity is opened up when we allow people to work from their heart. He felt a personal burden to add, to take away my sorrow because he saw how I was agonizing because of the passion that I have. So he went into the deep recesses and began to think about it. And that's how that day I was strutting around when the governor came around. I said in my mind, I said, this nobody knew that it was that guy that gave us this. Because without the roof, the lintels wouldn't have been to want to do the roof. The roofs are ready all around, but they don't put it in an empty space. So I'm just taking this as an example of how creativity comes when the heart is open. All project community take ownership of the project. All workers take pride in what being done. The site self-secure itself because everyone feels trusted. So step is reduced. Safety is optimized. All are looking out for each other. So somebody climbing without a hand. My friend, come down from that place. Do you want to put us into trouble? Why? He's invested. That's what I'm talking about. You see, it's difficult for me to tell you how much naira and kobo these things can save you. But just try it out on some of the locations that you have. And I won't charge. You can send me something, I'll be happy. And incentives are introduced. Incentives will be introduced creatively, drives quality, speed, and time. There are sometimes I'll tell this person, work money hard, don't need money. And one day, since you won't go anywhere, I'll give you money. Everybody wants to be like that guy. What did he do? And I say it publicly. And everybody knows I gave him. It's not like him much. 1,000, 2,000. But it is a recognition. There's no human being that doesn't want recognition. So it saves us a lot of time, a lot of quality, a lot of it improves quality. Somebody is not doing something well. There are some that are doing it well. Just hand them over. You become his apprentice, right? And we laugh about it. But that guy is going to take it seriously and is going to treat somebody for you. Next. Yes. I know there are questions. People are people and they are complex, right? So I'll take any questions because it's people that deliver projects. Thank you. Please, questions. Yes.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Well, I don't know whether this is the question. You're very strong, you have a very strong background in construction, in Nigeria. And I guess you must also know what's happening during the West African sub-region, also development. The import of what you're talking about is training. And we talk about the sports of our currents going out. The reason why in 2014, 2015, when I was going to go to the war, Naira to the surface, 1 Naira was about 4.5 cents. Today, the price is this. The surface is now going like Naira. That is what it is. What is happening is that the Nigerian, yes, the other way. Yes.
Okay. Back
Everyone back home, the thing is, the reason is there is you talk about training and you've been talking about transformation or I don't want to call it technology transfer. It's basically training, letting people know how to do things better. Our institutions don't have the ability to train these cadres of people that we're talking about. So I think that this message that we have delivered, especially on training, should go back to the institution owners. We are coming to universities now. Let's leave government. Let's talk to the private universities to do things that will allow us to train Nigerians. I worked in Kaba and Albato for 20 years before I retired to start my company. Before then, I worked in Colosa. In Kaba and Albato, the workforce in Kaba and Albato is an Italian company. It's 80-20. Nigerians are 20% and the foreigners are 80%. These guys are more serious, they are more committed. The Nigerian man is always thinking of burying his father, his mother, his brother, his sister, and all that. So at the end of the week, the West African goes home with his money. We have to start and let our parents, our people know that being an engineer without a field experience is zero. So I think that the private institutions, let's just leave government to start to think about training our young engineers to be first a carpenter or a mason before he starts into engineering.
Thank you very much. I'd like to make this distinction. An engineer is not a carpenter. You see, our universities were designed, I say, I go back to the Industrial Revolution. Can I sit down, please? The Industrial Revolution was designed to make tailors only buttonhole is what you do. So he knows when the thing comes to his table, he fixes the button and he goes in. We have carried that over into educational institutions. So there's no track For that master craftsman who is a carpenter, he's looked down upon. There are carpenters that will do chairs for you. You will bow. There's no track for that. That person can also drive the G1. But we have not created that track for you. So we're worried why people are not being carpenters. I'm not being a carpenter. The construction industry globally is facing an onslaught by the IT sector. Yeah. In America, very few people want to go and work in construction companies that are engineers. They want to work in IT. With IT, you can work with 3 companies, earning $100,000 a month each. So what you guys are still in the sun or in the moon? So we need to begin to retool our curriculum. To a university is an academic institution. It's not a technical institution. We try to play it down by doing the University of Science and Technology, but it's teaching science and technology. That's what a university is, by definition. A training school trains people, a private training school trains people to fly planes. Right? That's what it trains people to do. So it is not a place where I learned the theory of thermodynamics. I started calculus at age 14. They practically wasted my time. I'm sorry. We are wasting a lot of youth their time by the kind of education we're giving them. A guy can draw in those days was no maths. He can employ an accountant. So we need to begin to change what we call education and become relevant. See what I'm wearing on my hands? Somebody made it. Right? In some places now they put it in a box, put sapphire something on it, and sell it for £2,000. Me and you will go to that place and pay. Right? So it is creating what is happening now. We need to get to what is Nigeria centric. The payment platforms that we have in Nigeria, they don't have it in the UK. They don't have it in the different payment platform. Why? They don't need it. But this is what people have thought about that works for us. And people are making money from it. So we need to begin to look inwards to see the training that is relevant to our people and give it to them and create a job officially where they can be certified master craftsman in carpentry, master craftsman in welding. Do you know the people that go underground to weld? There's a certification for it. My brother worked in the UK when he got there. He didn't have a but what he did was that there's a certification for what we call the banksman. Banksman is just simply who directs the crane. That's the job. Pay £500 then, and you get that certificate. So that's what qualifies you to apply for the banksman job. These are the things we need to begin to create. Our youth will have places to channel their energies to. Learn how to do things. So if you want to go to university, it's your choice. But if you want to stay in carpentry, you can still drive your job doing carpentry. That's what we need to get to. It's what we need to get to. But even between polytechnics and universities, there's yes, right? So we need to stop these things and everybody stay on your lane. I don't know how to draw. There's people that drum for a living and they're making a living out of it. So let everybody stay in his lane. Let everybody be encouraged to stay in his lane and don't look down another one. That way, everybody will contribute something to the national discourse in terms of the pot of money that comes to us as a people. Because we are wonderful people. I've never seen any people like Nigerians. I'm serious. So we need to cultivate these attributes of working together to be able to get to where we need to get to as a people. Any questions? Yes, sir. So there's somebody who needs to be parked here. Lexus Jeep AGB 505 GC. If it's your car, please take it out of where it is. AGB 505. It's a Lexus Jeep. Comment it. Okay. But if it's your car number, before Esma will come and take it, please come and take it out. Thank you so much for the presentation. I have a sad chance to advise me. And one of my presentations said, get rid of the bad ones. And on that side, I have a particular person, very, very important. But this person is giving me a lot of pain. And if I get rid of that person, my job will have a problem. Please advise me. It's one of the things that people want to that question. When you say, sometimes when you hear things, just take them in abstract. If it's your business, proper planning prevents accidents. So you have seen the person, you are managing him, you are stuck. What I will do, I will look for two people in advance where I'm managing him. So when I get the two people and I'm busy in diving, when I get the one person, I can let him. We don't think long term, especially those contractors. I tell you a very good example about forms that you used to cast. Why do you use wood if that's the business you do? Save money and buy metal forms. When you cast them, stay forever. So you can change it from side to side to side to side. Every day they go to the market, they're buying wood, they're selling, and stuff. So what I'm trying to say is about planning. And planning means you have a problem. If you pick the guy up and you say, there's nothing for you to do, who's going to do the work? So you begin to look, interview people. When you get, understand the one around that you're looking for among your friends, when they give you the good, interview them, test them, they will even join and understanding you. And you will think he's the boss. Then the day you want to get it from him, just call him to one side, give him his envelope and tell him it's okay, thank you very much. Because you cannot be emotional about business. Business is about numbers. And your numbers will go down when that guy leaves. So you need to know how to be wise in terms of dealing with it. Yes.
Thank you so much, sir, for the lesson. I am not an engineer, but I want to ask this question as a layman. And I know that some other people here were just pure civil servants, they're not engineers. So I want to ask, so the lesson was very valuable and I have gained much from it. Is there any way we can step it down? We'll go to the office now because some of us we head the unit, we head the background. Because project is not only the structure we see. We know there are projects in the office. There are things to you need to achieve in the office. You will step it down.
I didn't go back to the first slide. I think I'm just looking from here. So where is it? Yes, I said when I was defining projects. No. Instead the project is specific, it's unique. I understand. It serves a purpose, it's tangible, and it's measurable, and it's definite. Oftentimes in organizations, we don't define projects properly and wonder why people are not performing. If in your department you have defined what a project, what the project is, and everybody understands what the project is, it makes life simpler. There was a very famous case in South Africa. It was the design of it was a delivery of a school. So everybody wrote the brief and everybody signed it. When we finished it, the woman who was the head of school said, where is the football field? Her assumption was that the football field was a part of the project. Why? The definition had not been shared with her. If she had been told what the scope, as we call it in project management, what the scope is, and somebody signs off on the scope, right? So it means this is where we put the stamp. Anything outside of this is out of scope. So when you have a project, make sure you define it properly. Enumeration of 10-year goals. Maybe that's what your department needs to do in already local government. So which means we won't go to the next local government. It must only be in already local government. So if you are doing anything outside of the local government, you are doing university levels. That's what definition does. It sounds stupid, but the truth of the matter is that if you want to be clear, you must spell it out. Why we have a project tab and somebody signs off is that tomorrow, you know, your executive, you can't say, well, that's what he said. But when he signs, we will just bring that he signs and shows to everybody. Okay? So you need to define what it is that the project is. Then you need to look for the manpower, the necessary manpower. Your friend in the office may be very good as a friend, but he doesn't have the required knowledge to be on that project team. So give him space. It's a big objective. One of my mentors said you can't be nice as a project manager because it's not about emotions, it's about getting the job done. So that's the little I can just put in terms of organization. We do that for organization. We teach project management for non-project managers. It's a course that we train. We've done it for the CBN, we've done it for all and that's companies. Because a lot of executives get promoted to very high positions and they're given projects to look after. Meanwhile, they have no expertise on how to manage projects. So we give them things that they can immediately run with and measure. As you begin to deliver projects, so you'll be able to measure, am I succeeding, am I not succeeding? So if you're not succeeding, you know where to compare that. Okay? So those are some of the things that I do. And many of these things are, with time, you get better at them. Marriage, wedding, it's a project. I know there's only young people here. It's a project. It's unique because your own wedding is not someone else's wedding, right? The money you have is not what the money someone else has. So it's important for you to be able to specify what the scope of your own wedding will be. It doesn't have to be a tenth of 10 million. It doesn't have to be because it's just one day. So you need to know what it is that your own project is and how to staff it. Does that help? Good. See, I hesitate to do this. I believe in this slides, with or without this slides, I would have done this presentation. Correct? But it just gives us a guide onto what the substance is. So taking the slide away doesn't really do much for you. What is important is understanding. And you see, we have this challenge as a people. I have this all the time. We are taught to have a document, a requirement, and then do exam. Life doesn't give you that privilege. So if you understand it, you can apply it in any place. I prefer that. That's how it will be more useful to you. The things you have asked now apply to your work. The things I talked about, and you can apply to your work immediately. That's more tangible than having to do. If I give you this thing now, I can give you guarantee you will not look at it. See, maybe no, listen. See, what I have here, you can get it on Google. You can. She was talking about information the other time, and parents were talking about information. I don't know whether any other country suffers that lack of inquisitiveness that we do. Things that you can just on your phone. Some people's phones are more expensive than my own, right? But they don't use it like I use mine. You'll be surprised. Then there's even ChatGPT and AI. Thank God they didn't have it when I was going to school. The lecturers would have suffered. Just type in their family. Did they reduce the cost? Unbelievable. So there's nothing you're looking for now. There's nothing. Nothing. It's just that mental laziness to look for information. If I want to go to Oslo today, no. At the click of my button, they will tell me all the flights, compare the prices, which airports, At the click of a button. I used to tell my friends that they're lucky they sent us to school when they sent us. I would have had no business on keyboard. Sit down and write in exam and press the button and the thing comes out. Come. Sorry, I wasn't even quit school. But let's take the ease which is information is available to us now. Let's take advantage of it. We live in a golden era. We live in an era of information. It's all over the place. You want to know what happened in Yanawada? You want to know what happened in local government? You click it there. There'll be a YouTube. What you're seeing right now is happening on YouTube. I'm watching it right. That's the country we have. That is the environment in which we are in. So all these things that you're hearing, don't just want to see. Google, find out what it's all about, learn more. There's so much you can get in one day, right? So I advise you, I do one of my most important sets is my learning. And don't take anything, don't take my notes. Because I would have met people that I would who have never given who have never given me audience if I went to the office in their lips. Thank you. Any other person? Any other question? I think we're good. I think we're done. Thank you very much for listening to me. I'm very grateful for your audience. Thank you.
I noticed that we were getting quite interested in the project management for. I'd like to know that they stand for the project, the Society of Project Management Nigeria, the exhibition stand downstairs. So you can get more information. How you probably can get trained or certified as a project manager. They are around, so you can take that advantage. Thank you. See you tomorrow. You can feed your eyes at the exhibitions and then tomorrow. Thank you very much.